the great swordsman of Marvel. Hey! Look who's back for more adventures. We love having you here to continue this story that keeps us all awake. Important note, all of this is pure fiction, so don't try any techniques you hear here in real life. Your neighbor might call the cops. This amazing novel and all its rights belong to the original author. We're just the ones giving it voice and drama. Are you enjoying the show? Prove it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and leaving that like that motivates us so much. And if you want VIP access to exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting with things you won't find anywhere else. Chapter 476 Flaw. Sun Wukong and Lanky were extremely anxious, not knowing where Yi-Shen had gone. They left the rest room and searched the entire competition venue, even the stands. They searched the entire venue but still couldn't find Yi-Shen. Fortunately, they ran into Master Wu-Shen, who told everyone to split up and search in different areas, including outside the venue. Yamcha, after learning of Yi-Shen's disappearance, joined the search, helping Sun Wukong and Lanky. Yamcha searched outside the venue, where the greenery was lush, with rows of tall, neat trees. Yamcha entered the woods. The fallen leaves were piled high, scorched by the sun, making a crisp sound when walked on. Finally, Yamcha found Yi-Shen under a large tree in the woods. It turned out Yi-Shen was sleeping there. This puzzled Yamcha. Yamcha rushed over and stood before Yi-Shen. He found Yi-Shen still asleep, his eyes tightly shut. Yamcha wanted to wake him immediately. With less than a minute until the match started, Yamcha couldn't worry about anything else and had to wake Yi-Shen. Yamcha shouted anxiously, shaking Yi-Shen vigorously. Yi-Shen, Yi-Shen, wake up. Hey, don't sleep. Get up, Yamcha shouted very loudly, making it impossible for Yi-Shen not to wake up. Yi-Shen groggily opened his eyes after being woken up. He saw Yamcha and looked confused. Yi-Shen asked Yamcha, puzzled, why did you wake me up? Is something wrong? Yamcha was speechless. Did Yi-Shen know he was about to have a match? He could only helplessly say, so you don't know you're about to have a match? Hurry up. Don't waste time, there's less than a minute left. Yamcha didn't care about anything else. He hadn't even finished speaking when he pulled Yi-Shen up and dragged him along, running like crazy. They had to be on the field within those few dozen seconds, otherwise Yi-Shen would be penalized by the referee for automatic fouling, and they couldn't let their opponents win the match for nothing. Yamcha ran very fast, almost carrying Yi-Shen on his back, but luckily Yamcha was fast enough that Yi-Shen appeared on the field in the last few seconds, and the match could continue. This exhausted Yamcha, and after bringing Yi-Shen to the stage, he went down himself. Sun Wukong and Lanky looked around but couldn't find Yi-Shen, so Yamcha dragged them back. Thankfully they made it in time for the match. Sun Wukong cursed at Yi-Shen. I don't know what you're thinking. You can forget such an important match, you'll regret it if you miss it. Sun Wukong was concerned about Yi-Shen's performance. Now it was time to watch Yi-Shen's match. The referee blew the whistle. The match officially began. Kira was furious to see Yi-Shen. Yi-Shen had stopped him from seeking revenge on those despicable people the previous night, and Kira wanted to defeat Yi-Shen to quell his dissatisfaction. Kira launched a fierce and rapid attack on Yi-Shen, who was still out of it. Having just woken up, he was listless and his eyes were blurry. This was not good news. Sun Wukong, watching from the sidelines, was extremely anxious. He even wanted to go up and fight for Yi-Shen. Ultimately, the bad thing happened. Yi-Shen was hit by Kira's heavy punch to the stomach, and Yi-Shen fell to the ground. Sun Wukong was shocked. Yi-Shen had actually been knocked down. Someone as strong as Yi-Shen, how could he be defeated? After being knocked to the ground, Yi-Shen finally regained his senses and landed a heavy punch. The intense pain from his nerves instantly brought him back to his senses, and his focus returned. Yi-Shen finally understood what had happened. Despite the intense pain, he immediately stood up. Sun Wukong, watching from below, felt much relieved, for he saw a burning fighting spirit in Yi-Shen's eyes. It was rare to see Yi-Shen so passionate. Sun Wukong knew the upcoming duel would be incredibly exciting. And indeed, Yi-Shen was completely different after standing up. He took the initiative to attack, even using his signature move, a rare occurrence. Full of fighting spirit, Yi-Shen seemed to be in excellent condition. After launching a powerful offensive, Killian couldn't withstand Yi-Shen's attacks and retreated step by step, slowly showing signs of strain. Killian finally retreated to a corner of the stage, which was exactly what Yi-Shen wanted, a perfect position to attack. Yi-Shen unleashed his final powerful move, defeating Killian. Killian stared at Yi-Shen in disbelief. He hadn't realized Yi-Shen's strength was so great. After regaining his senses, Yi-Shen turned the tide and defeated the monster fighter, Killian. This victory propelled him into the quarterfinals, making him one of the top 4. Besides Yi-Shen, there were 3 other semifinal spots available. The next 3 semifinal matches would determine who would advance. Yi-Shen and Lan Qi were among the remaining 4 semifinalists, meaning Sun Wukong and Lan Qi had a chance to reach the quarterfinals. After Yi-Shen's match, the referee announced passionately to the audience, "I declare that Yi-Shen has successfully advanced to the quarterfinals and become one of the top 4 fighters in this year's World Martial Arts Tournament. Congratulations." The audience erupted in enthusiastic applause and cheers. They loved fighters like Yi-Shen. His matches were incredibly entertaining and full of unexpected twists. Yi-Shen thus secured his place in the top 4, just 2 steps from the championship. If he won his next 2 matches, he would undoubtedly become the champion of this year's World Martial Arts Tournament. Yi-Shen stepped off the stage and returned to the lounge to rest while waiting for the match between Sun Wukong and Lan Qi. Coincidentally, the next match was Sun Wukong's. His opponent was quite strong, and Sun Wukong struggled a bit in the first half. Both seemed evenly matched, neither able to easily gain the upper hand. This situation lasted for a long time, draining Sun Wukong's energy. This highlighted the importance of the training Master Roshi and Master Roshi had given them. Sun Wukong ultimately won, thanks to his previous training and superior stamina. He defeated his opponent because his stamina was inferior to Sun Wukong's. The prolonged match made his opponent unable to keep up with Sun Wukong's speed, gradually revealing many weaknesses. Chapter 477 The Veteran. Sun Wukong successfully seized these openings and exploited them to his opponent's weaknesses, specifically targeting their weakest points. His opponent couldn't withstand his attacks and was defeated after several rounds. Sun Wukong pressed his advantage, unleashing a powerful move that easily defeated his opponent. Thus, Sun Wukong won the match and advanced to the quarterfinals, becoming one of the top 4. Now it was up to Lan Qi to perform. Sun Wukong happily returned to the rest room. Having already become a top 4 player, he now only hoped that Lan Qi could also reach the top 4. If all 3 of them could make it to the top 4, it would not only bring glory to their teacher, Shiki, but also allow them to hone their skills. Preparations for the next match had already begun, and Lan Qi couldn't help but tense up. Sun Wukong and Yi-Shen came to Lan Qi's side to cheer him on. Sun Wukong spoke to Lan Qi as usual. "Don't be nervous. Just go on stage and fight. Don't worry about winning or losing. Just treat your opponent as your enemy." Yi-Shen rolled his eyes at Sun Wukong. What kind of comfort and encouragement was that? Yi-Shen walked up to Lan Qi, patted him on the shoulder, and said in a gentle tone, "We believe in you, and you must believe in yourself even more." With Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong's encouragement, Lan Qi felt empowered. She listened to their advice and calmly stepped onto the stage. As expected, Lan Qi consistently displayed her full strength. In the crucial final moment, she defeated her opponent, winning the match. Thus, Lan Qi, like Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong, successfully advanced to the quarterfinals, becoming one of the top 4. Lan Qi was overjoyed. She had proven herself with her abilities and gained immense confidence. After leaving the stage, Lan Qi went to the lounge, where Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong were already waiting for her triumphant return. They had watched her exciting match from the lounge. When Lan Qi arrived at the lounge, Yi-Shen, Sun Wukong, and Master Wushan congratulated her. Through these competitions, Yi-Shen, Sun Wukong, and Lan Qi became incredibly famous. Their exciting journey became known to countless people, quickly spreading to every corner of the country. Not only did Yi-Shen and his 2 companions suddenly become famous, but their training coach, Master Wu Yan, also became an overnight sensation. Everyone wondered how powerful a coach must be to produce 3 semi-finalists. Otherwise, how could he have such outstanding students? Yi-Shen, Sun Wukong, and Lan Qi instantly became the hottest stars, with many television stations vying to interview them. With only 3 days left until the final competition, Master Wu Yan secured an interview for them with a top-tier television station. These stations were eager to interview Yi-Shen and his team not only because of their strength, but also because they were the youngest 3 semi-finalists in history, and their good looks were sure to attract a large audience. The television station wanted to promote and package Yi-Shen and his team, but Yi-Shen firmly refused, only agreeing to the interview and nothing else. The TV host, who was also the main host of the competition, led Yi-Shen and his team to the interview location to begin recording. The host asked many questions, which Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong answered one by one. It was mostly Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong answering. Lan Qi rarely spoke, too nervous to know what to say. Yi-Shen's answers were very official, perfectly standard, and flawless, leaving the host with no room for criticism. This displeased the host. While the answers were flawless, they lacked appeal. So, the host continued to ask increasingly tricky questions. Until Yi-Shen was at a loss for words, Sun Wukong saved the day with his comedic style. Whenever the host asked a pointed question, Sun Wukong deftly diffused it with a few witty remarks, turning each one into a humorous response. Although the host outwardly smiled, she was inwardly lamenting. It seemed she had truly encountered a master this time. After so many years as a host, she had never encountered a question she couldn't get out of her. Sun Wukong became increasingly excited, even revealing during the interview that he had a tail. The host was astonished, looking at Sun Wukong in disbelief, and asked in surprise, "Wait a minute, what did you just say? You have a tail? Really? You're not bragging, are you? So many people are watching on TV. If you're bragging, you'll make a huge fool of yourself." The host used reverse psychology, and Sun Wukong fell for it. He wanted to prove he had a tail immediately, and even Yi-Shen couldn't stop him. Sun Wukong was so carried away that he actually pulled down his pants in front of everyone during the interview, revealing his underwear. All the girls in the audience were so shocked that they turned away, covering their eyes and unable to look at Sun Wukong. The scene was extremely awkward. Yi-Shen wished he could disappear into the shadows, saying he didn't want to know this brainless guy, Sun Wukong. At this moment, Sun Wukong proudly pulled out his tail and swung it around to show everyone, a move that terrified many people. The host found it unbelievable. He hadn't expected a tail to actually appear, but it was strange. How could a person grow a tail? The host wanted to press further, but Yi-Shen interrupted him. Yi-Shen quickly approached Sun Wukong, slapped him on the head, and scolded, "What's wrong with you? Put your pants on right now. Don't you think this is embarrassing?" Sun Wukong then realized his foolish mistake and quickly put his pants on, hiding his tail. The host, not wanting to miss such an explosive moment, wanted to continue questioning Sun Wukong about his tail. Yi-Shen saw through the host's intentions and made an excuse, saying, "Host, I'm sorry, my friend did something inappropriate. I apologize to everyone. However, the interview isn't over yet. Please continue the interview. Don't let this matter distract you." Yi-Shen's words were sincere and flawless, but his unspoken message was, "Please finish the interview quickly. I'm getting impatient, and you're not allowed to ask about Sun Wukong's tail. You can only interview me about the competition." As a seasoned veteran in the world of conversation, how could the host not understand Yi-Shen's unspoken meaning? He gritted his teeth in anger, but on the surface, he still had to put on a gentle and pleasant demeanor. Chapter 478 Remaining inactive. The host had no choice but to abandon this explosive highlight and instead interview Yi-Shen and his team about the competition. The interview returned to normal. Following the script, the host asked Yi-Shen and his team questions. When asked about Yi-Shen's age, the host said, "The audience says you look very young, yet you have such strong skills. They are all curious about your age. Would you mind telling everyone your real age?" Yi-Shen calmly replied, "I'm 12 years old." A collective gasp rippled through the audience. Everyone was amazed. The most formidable dark horse was only 12 years old. This made most people feel ashamed. He was already so amazing at 12, while they themselves had spent half their lives achieving nothing, living a mediocre life. After Yi-Shen revealed his age, Sun Wukong, standing nearby, laughed. Sun Wukong's unintentional laugh caught the host's attention. The host immediately sensed a gossip brewing and quickly asked Sun Wukong, "Why are you laughing? Is there a problem?" Sun Wukong replied, "No problem, he really is 12 years old. I was just thinking about when I was 12 years old, and I was still wetting the bed." Sun Wukong's answer caused a burst of laughter. The host also laughed along with him. To maintain order, the host said, "This contestant is really witty. He's added a lot of fun to our show." With a previously agreed upon interview time about to end, Yi-Shen was already impatient. He couldn't wait to leave. Meanwhile, on Yamcha's side, since the last match, he had a lingering doubt. He felt he had seen his opponent, Jackie Chan, somewhere before. Jackie Chan gave him a strangely familiar feeling, but his appearance was definitely unfamiliar. Yamcha began to suspect Jackie Chan's true identity. Since then, Yamcha had been constantly observing Jackie Chan's daily routine, hoping to find a flaw in his identity and gather relevant evidence. During this observation, Yamcha's intuition grew stronger, suspecting that Jackie Chan was Master Roshi, but he hadn't yet found strong evidence to prove it. So how did Yamcha arrive at this intuition? It couldn't have been something he made up out of thin air. It turns out Yamcha's conjecture had some basis. Comparing the habits of Master Roshi and Jackie Chan, Yamcha noticed many similarities between the two identities. Upon closer observation, these similarities became even more apparent, leading to his conjecture. After this discovery, Yamcha tried to subtly probe Jackie Chan's reaction. So, while Yip Shin, Goku, and Slam were being interviewed, Yamcha seized the opportunity to sit next to Jackie Chan. Having finally found this opportunity, Yamcha was determined to make the most of it. Whenever the host asked Yip Shin and the others about their teacher, Yamcha would casually greet Jackie Chan, saying, "Hey, friend. Don't you think Master Roshi is even more amazing than them? Otherwise, how could he teach such amazing students?" Jackie Chan, sitting next to Yamcha, politely replied, "I don't know, maybe." Yamcha gave a goofy smile, but inwardly he was thinking, "Let's see how long you can keep up this act." Yamcha asked again, deliberately, "You don't know Master Wushin? That's impossible. He's a very experienced trainer," Jackie Chan replied casually. "Oh," Jackie Chan dismissed Yamcha with a single word. Yamcha, still unwilling to give up, changed his tone. "Actually, no one has ever seen Master Wushin. His actual strength is probably just a rumor. He might be average, only good at teaching, but not so good at fighting. Maybe he wouldn't even qualify for this kind of competition." Yamcha deliberately said this to Jackie Chan, waiting for his reaction. Unexpectedly, Jackie Chan just watched Yushin and the others being interviewed, showing no intention of continuing to pay attention to Yamcha, his expression unchanged. This situation greatly troubled Yamcha. Jackie Chan didn't show any unusual reaction, and he couldn't just point to Jackie Chan and say, "You're Master Wushin." Yamcha said one last time to Jackie Chan, uttering a meaningful question, "Do you think it's possible that Master Wushin is sitting next to me? Don't you think what I'm saying is incredibly crazy?" Haha. Jackie Chan turned around, looked at Yamcha in surprise, his brow furrowed in disbelief. Seeing this reaction, Yamcha concluded that Jackie Chan was indeed Master Roshi, only that Jackie Chan would never admit it. But Yamcha was already convinced, he would find a way to make Jackie Chan reveal his true identity. The interviews with Yushin, Sun Wukong, and Lan Qi ended an hour later. Next up was the sixth match. The sixth match was between Yushin and a fighter named Nanwu. Yushin didn't know Nanwu's strength, but based on a rough guess, he was probably quite strong, otherwise he wouldn't have reached this point. Yushin had already played several matches and accumulated considerable practical experience, so he was more confident than at the beginning of the match. Yushin calmly walked onto the stage, and soon after, his opponent followed. After Nanwu and Yushin stepped onto the stage, they had about 5 minutes to prepare. Both began sizing each other up, trying to gauge each other's strength based on initial impressions. Yushin carefully observed Nanwu. Despite his extensive experience, he couldn't discern any unique characteristics or strengths in him. Nanwu, on the other hand, didn't bother with Yushin's assessment. He had thoroughly researched Yushin beforehand, studying every single one of his previous matches. Knowing one's enemy is crucial for victory, and preparation is always beneficial. Nanwu's deep understanding of Yushin, coupled with Yushin's complete ignorance of Nanwu, presented a challenge for Yushin. The referee blew the whistle, and the match officially began. Both Yushin and Nanwu remained motionless, locked in a silent battle of wills. This stalemate lasted 2 minutes until the audience grew impatient, shouting their dissatisfaction. "Why are you all just standing there? Fight! Start fighting! If you don't fight, is this even a competition? We paid for our tickets to get here, how can you do this?" The audience started complaining, and the referee couldn't let Yushin and Nanwu continue like this, so he urged them on. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 479 Giving Up. Hurry up and finish your matches. Any further delays will result in you forfeiting and disqualifying yourselves. Hearing this, Yi-Shen decided to stop his stalemate and strike first, seizing the initiative. However, this was exactly what Nanwu had planned. Before the match, Nanwu had studied Yi-Shen's tactics, understanding each of his moves thoroughly and devising countermeasures. For Yi-Shen to attack was simply to exhaust his own stamina. Nanwu intended to slowly wear Yi-Shen down until he was nearly worn out, then strike at his own opportunity. This was a very cunning tactic. The match between Yi-Shen and Nanwu lasted a long time. In the first half, Yi-Shen used his powerful moves one after another, only to find them ineffective against Nanwu. Yi-Shen began to panic. He realized things were going badly. His attacks were being constantly countered by Nanwu, and he had to start thinking of other ways. He couldn't continue like this. Yi-Shen recalled the match he had watched in the lounge earlier. Thankfully, the match he had watched attentively hadn't been a waste of time. He found Jackie Chan's, Wang Li's, fight against Yamcha particularly exciting, and Jackie Chan's moves were quite novel, most of which he had never seen before, especially his ultimate moves. They were refreshing and left a deep impression on Yi-Shen. Yi-Shen learned incredibly quickly. After watching just one match, he remembered how Jackie Chan's ultimate moves were executed. Yi-Shen realized that Nanwu knew him well and had come prepared, so he stopped using his own moves. Yi-Shen decided to use Jackie Chan's ultimate move against Nanwu. Following Jackie Chan's previous method, Yi-Shen successfully used the move and attacked Nanwu. Despite Yi-Shen's rapid mental processing, he never imagined that Nanwu had not only studied him before the match, but also every other finalist. Nanwu was incredibly powerful. He immediately recognized it as Jackie Chan's signature move and devised a countermeasure in a split second, effectively dodging Yi-Shen's attack. Yi-Shen then used several more of Jackie Chan's moves, but Nanwu quickly deciphered them all. Each of Yi-Shen's attacks was ineffective. At this moment, even someone as physically strong as Yi-Shen felt intense fatigue. He began to pant heavily. Nanwu noticed these subtle details. This was exactly the result Nanwu wanted. He was very satisfied with Yi-Shen's current state and chuckled inwardly. Yi-Shen began to panic. He attempted a spinning move, but before he could execute it, he spun himself until he was dizzy. Nanwu saw that Yi-Shen was already dizzy. This was a golden opportunity for Nanwu. Seizing the moment, while Yi-Shen was still dizzy, Nanwu finally launched his attack. Nanwu leaped high into the air, his sudden attack eliciting cheers from the audience. The match had finally taken a turn for the better. It was finally getting interesting. The audience wanted to see this kind of exciting match. They didn't care who won or lost. Nanwu leaped high into the air and aimed at Yi-Shen, unleashing his ultimate move, the Sky Cross Fist. Nanwu's attack was incredibly powerful, striking Yi-Shen heavily. Yi-Shen's already exhausted body couldn't withstand the blow and collapsed to the ground. He fell unconscious, a terrible situation. Some audience members were stunned. They had strongly favored Yi-Shen to win. Others cheered, celebrating that someone had finally defeated Yi-Shen. Someone even stronger than him, adding another champion to their list. Sun Wukong and Lan Qi, watching from the dressing room, were frantic with worry. They were heartbroken to see Yi-Shen lying on the ground. They rushed to the stage, and Sun Wukong shouted, "Yi-Shen! Yi-Shen, get up! You're just pretending. You can't be defeated." Sun Wukong shouted hoarsely at Yi-Shen, his eyes filled with hatred as he glared at Nanwu. Nanwu was too treacherous. Even if he won the match, it would be an unfair victory, and Sun Wukong was the first to feel resentment. Sun Wukong had already prepared for the worst. Even if Yi-Shen lost this match, Sun Wukong was determined to win back everything Yi-Shen had lost, and he would never let such a villain as Nanwu take the championship. The referee came to Yi-Shen's side and examined him. He found no serious injuries. Yi-Shen had simply fainted from exhaustion and was not in mortal danger. There was still some time after Yi-Shen collapsed. If he could get up, the match could continue. Otherwise, it would mean Yi-Shen's elimination in fourth place, a truly regrettable outcome. Several seconds passed. Yi-Shen still showed no sign of getting up. Sun Wukong, anxious from below the stage, kept shouting, "Yi-Shen! Get up! Yi-Shen, get up!" Lan Qi was also very anxious, but there was nothing he could do. They couldn't break the rules of the competition. They couldn't rush onto the stage. The referee was controlling the situation on stage, and the countdown was fast approaching. All the contestants and spectators held their breath, waiting for the final result. The entire arena was extremely quiet, no one was distracted. Everyone was intently watching the situation on stage. The referee stood in the center of the stage, squatted down, raised Yi-Shen's hand, and shouted loudly to the audience. The air was still, everyone's nerves were on edge. The referee had already counted to 6, but Yi-Shen was still unconscious. Sun Wukong was extremely anxious. With only 5 seconds left, the hope was incredibly slim, but Sun Wukong still held a sliver of hope. The Yi-Shen he knew was always a very reliable person and would never let everyone down. But Lan Qi had already given up, looking dejectedly at Yi-Shen. Only 3 seconds remained. If a miracle didn't happen within those 3 seconds, there would truly be no turning back. But Sun Wukong was incredibly persistent, he believed in Yi-Shen. Perhaps it was this unwavering trust between friends that Yi-Shen felt, and his mind slowly cleared. The referee's voice was still shouting loudly. Only 1 second remained. All the spectators had given up, and many were ready to leave. Only Sun Wukong was still persisting. When the referee shouted 1, Yi-Shen's finger suddenly moved, and then he slowly opened his eyes, sat up from the ground, and the audience below the stage was overjoyed. They cheered, and the arena resounded with deafening cheers. Chapter 480 Despicable. Yi-Shen stood up, and the audience who loved him shed tears of excitement, hoping that he would turn the tide this time. Sun Wukong shouted joyfully at Yi-Shen. Yi-Shen, you're truly amazing. Brother, I admire you, Yi-Shen laughed, patting his chest to reassure Sun Wukong and the others. Lan Qi, already in tears, shouted excitedly upon seeing Yi-Shen stand up, genuinely happy for him. Yi-Shen seemed like a different person after waking up, his eyes revealed a fierce determination. He would definitely not let Nan-Wu off easily. Nan-Wu, seeing Yi-Shen actually stand up, began to lose his composure. He thought his previous move was enough to knock Yi-Shen down. He hadn't expected Yi-Shen to be so resilient, still having the strength to get up. However, Nan-Wu was extremely confident, he felt he could easily defeat Yi-Shen, based on his thorough understanding of him. The Yi-Shen after waking up was different, he had grasped some new techniques. These techniques were ones Nan-Wu had never seen before. Nan-Wu could no longer possibly know these techniques perfectly. Nan-Wu absolutely could not have known this beforehand. If Nan-Wu couldn't break these moves, then Yi-Shen could easily attack him. The match continued, and the referee stepped aside. Yi-Shen still launched an attack. The audience below the stage were particularly worried for Yi-Shen, thinking he would repeat his mistakes. Nan-Wu had never seen the moves Yi-Shen used in this attack before. Nan-Wu's mouth dropped open in surprise. He had clearly studied all of Yi-Shen's moves. How could he not have seen these? How could Yi-Shen come up with new moves in such a short time? Nan-Wu suddenly couldn't think of a way to counter, and could only be beaten back by Yi-Shen. The audience below the stage watched with great amusement. Nan-Wu was utterly defeated by the resurrected Yi-Shen. The match was becoming increasingly exciting, and Yi-Shen had gained an overwhelming advantage. Nan-Wu couldn't believe his eyes. Meanwhile, Sun Wukong and Lan Qi below the stage were extremely happy and excited. They cheered for Yi-Shen incessantly, their voices almost hoarse. Nan-Wu was unwilling to let Yi-Shen change the situation so easily. Since he couldn't break Yi-Shen's moves, he could only use his own ultimate move, the Sky Cross Fist, which had just brought Yi-Shen down. That's what Nan-Wu thought in his mind. However, astute viewers could clearly see the true situation. It wasn't Nan-Wu's ultimate move that had actually defeated Yi-Shen, but rather Yi-Shen's carelessness. Having no other choice, Nan-Wu used his ultimate move again. He leaped high into the air. A contemptuous smile appeared on Yi-Shen's lips. He thought to himself, using the same old trick won't be as effective. Nan-Wu prepared his ultimate move in mid-air, the Sky Cross Fist, and swooped down towards Yi-Shen, his eyes fixed intently on him. He believed that this time, he could still injure Yi-Shen and bring him to the ground. But Nan-Wu was too naive. Yi-Shen was no ordinary fighter, his talent was astonishing. He could quickly decipher and learn any move they exchanged, an ability that instilled fear in everyone. Just as Nan-Wu was about to strike Yi-Shen, Yi-Shen's lips curled into a smug smile, and he said to Nan-Wu with utter disdain, "Is that all you've got?" With that, Yi-Shen dodged Nan-Wu's attack with incredible speed, even the most observant person couldn't see how he evaded it. Seeing his attack miss and Yi-Shen easily dodge it, Nan-Wu felt a huge sense of disappointment. He had always been unwilling to acknowledge others' excellence, much less admit that someone was better than him. His inner demons had formed. He believed Yi-Shen had only gotten lucky and happened to dodge his attack. If they had tried a few more times, the situation would have been different. What he couldn't stand even more was Yi-Shen's contemptuous remark, "Is that all you've got?" This sentence successfully provoked Nanwu, further exposing his already humble, obsessive, and twisted inner self. Nanwu went berserk, relentlessly unleashing his ultimate attacks on Yi-Shen, but each strike missed. Unwilling to accept this, Nanwu became even more frenzied. Yi-Shen easily dodged Nanwu's attacks, conserving his stamina to the maximum extent. Yi-Shen was using Nanwu's own methods against him. He was retaliating in kind. Yi-Shen's strategy was the same as Nanwu's, constantly provoking him, inducing him to attack, dragging him out, and gradually draining his stamina. Yi-Shen, relying on his agility, found dodging Nanwu's attacks remarkably easy. Nanwu remained irrational. He was unaware that he had fallen into a trap deliberately set for him by Yi-Shen. When Nanwu started panting, Yi-Shen smiled calmly and asked him, "Are you very tired now?" Nanwu, panting heavily, inwardly cursed. Yi-Shen's words made Nanwu freeze for a second. At first, he didn't understand why Yi-Shen would ask him this. He was sure Yi-Shen wasn't being kind. But when he realized Yi-Shen's purpose, he finally understood. Yi-Shen was using his methods against him. But by the time Nanwu realized this, it was too late. Nanwu was furious and pointed at Yi-Shen's nose, cursing, "You're despicable." Yi-Shen smiled indifferently and replied calmly, "Despicable? I learned all this from you. Then I can assume you're cursing yourself." Nanwu was speechless at Yi-Shen's retort. Knowing he was in the wrong, he dared not say anything more in rebuttal, and could only point at Yi-Shen and curse. You just wait," Yi-Shen said nonchalantly. "What are you waiting for? I see you're so tired, so I'll take pity on you and send you home to rest early, okay?" Sun Wukong, watching from below the stage, thought Yi-Shen did a great job, while Lan Qi looked at Yi-Shen with great admiration. Yi-Shen was incredibly handsome at that moment, radiating charm that was impossible to look away from. Sun Wukong shouted at Yi-Shen, "Make him get down here right now." Yi-Shen gave Sun Wukong an okay sign. Nanwu still wanted to struggle, but seeing Yi-Shen launch a rapid attack, he tried to dodge, but his exhausted body wasn't fast enough to evade quickly. Nanwu couldn't dodge in time and was struck in the chest by Yi-Shen's palm, suffering severe internal injuries. Yi-Shen quickly withdrew, and when he turned around, he saw Nanwu clutching his chest, about to spit out a mouthful of blood, but Nanwu forcefully held it back, keeping the blood in his mouth, refusing to let it flow. Chapter 481 Confident. However, Yi-Shen's palm strike used 9/10 of his strength, which Nanwu absolutely couldn't withstand. Sure enough, after a few seconds, Nanwu's eyes gradually blurred, he slowly lost consciousness, and finally collapsed on the stage. The audience cheered, the longest match was finally over, and the winner was finally decided. The referee went to Nanwu's side to check on him, and then began counting. When the referee counted to 0, Nanwu still couldn't stand up, which meant that Yi-Shen had defeated Nanwu. The audience liked Yi-Shen even more. Yi-Shen had fought his way through the competition and was about to win the crown. This match had lasted too long and had exhausted the contestants' energy. Only after the match ended did Yi-Shen recover. His tense nerves could finally relax. Yi-Shen, looking somewhat exhausted, stepped off the stage. Sun Wukong and Lan Qi came to his side, each supporting one of him, and led him to the rest room. Yi-Shen rested for about 40 or 50 minutes before recovering, constantly drinking water and eating to replenish his fluids and energy. He had another match coming up, against a formidable opponent. Yi-Shen's next opponent was Jackie Chan, whom Yamcha had always suspected. Yi-Shen didn't know much about this fighter, as Jackie Chan was mysterious and unpredictable, often disappearing after a match. However, Yi-Shen had seen Jackie Chan's matches. They were incredibly exciting. Yamcha was already very strong, and Jackie Chan's victory left a deep impression on Yi-Shen, making him a very important opponent in Yi-Shen's mind. This situation foreshadowed a fierce battle in the upcoming match. The next match was the final of the World Martial Arts Tournament, attracting everyone's attention. The audience waited in the stands early. With about half an hour to go before the finals of the world's #1 martial arts tournament, contestants Yi-Shen and Jackie Chan were preparing in the lounge. The tournament's host, not wanting to miss any opportunity to grab the audience's attention, stepped down from the interview platform and entered the lounge to interview the two finalists. Shen had already rested enough and was starting his warm-up exercises when the host entered. Having watched several of Shen's matches, the host had become a fan and immediately went to interview him. Departing from his usual sharp interviewing style, the host became a very polite admirer, asking Shen, "Hello everyone, I've arrived at the lounge. Here you see the most popular contestant, Shen. Let's interview him and see what his thoughts and feelings are about this competition." After greeting the audience, the host began speaking to Shen. "Excuse me, are you free right now? Would you like to be interviewed? This interview will only take a few minutes and won't take up much of your time." Shen looked at the host, thought for a moment, and nodded. Seeing that Shen had agreed to the interview, the host quickly asked, "Contestant Shen, what are your thoughts on the upcoming match? How confident are you of winning this final? And what do you want to say about your opponent, Jackie Chan?" The host then shoved the microphone in front of Shen. Shen stopped what he was doing, took the microphone, and faced the camera, answering politely and calmly, "Hello everyone, I'm contestant Shen. The next match is the final of the world's #1 martial arts tournament. And it's also my match against contestant Jackie Chan. I believe it will be a particularly exciting match, and I hope everyone will watch it carefully. Regarding the outcome, the match hasn't started yet, so I can't say much. The outcome will be determined naturally after the match, so please look forward to it. My opponent, Jackie Chan, is a particularly formidable fighter. I have great respect for my opponent and I firmly believe that he will be able to unleash his full potential and have a truly exciting match with me." Shen's words were sincere and polite, showing great respect for his opponent, which further improved the audience's impression of him. However, a closer listen and careful consideration revealed a hidden meaning. Shen was telling everyone to watch his upcoming match closely, as he wouldn't disappoint, and that he wouldn't be afraid of his opponent even if they played at their best. Hearing this, Sun Wukong knew Shen was confident and had a high degree of assurance regarding the final match, and he was very happy for Shen. After the interview, the host left to find another contestant, Jackie Chan. The host found Jackie Chan standing in the lounge, not sitting down, which puzzled the host. Jackie Chan was standing motionless, as if frozen in place, and showed no reaction when the host approached him. The host tried to speak to Jackie Chan, asking a question. After a few seconds, Jackie Chan remained silent, creating an awkward atmosphere. The host, feeling embarrassed, curiously waved his hand in front of Jackie Chan's face, finding no reaction. He then boldly leaned closer and discovered that Jackie Chan was asleep. The host was astonished, never having seen anyone sleep standing up. The audience was equally surprised. This contestant was truly strange. With only 30 minutes left before the competition, he was still soundly asleep. The audience wondered if Jackie Chan was simply letting his guard down or was overconfident. They wouldn't know until the competition began. Jackie Chan had left the audience in suspense. Unable to interview Jackie Chan any further, the host had to give up and leave hastily. Shortly after the host left, the final was about to begin, and the audience waited anxiously, growing impatient. They were eager to see what was supposedly a particularly exciting final. Shen had stopped his warm-up and was sitting quietly in his seat, looking relaxed and at ease. The audience believed that Shen was confident of winning the match. Meanwhile, Jackie Chan finally woke up 3 minutes before the match, and even then, he remained calm and composed. Since both fighters seemed so confident, the match was sure to be exceptionally exciting. Chapter 482: The Ultimate Goal. The competition bell rang. Shen and Jackie Chan emerged from the dressing room one after the other, preparing to enter the competition stage. Along the way, Shen's fans cheered him on, chanting unified slogans with great enthusiasm. Shen greeted them happily. After this brief interlude, the competition officially began. Both Shen and Jackie Chan appeared to be in excellent spirits, brimming with fighting spirit. Neither wanted to lose, both wanted to defeat the other and achieve victory. However, there could only be one champion, and only their true abilities could determine the winner. Shen absolutely could not allow himself to make a mistake in this competition. He was determined to win. Having come this far, losing would be such a pity. Finishing second was unacceptable to him. Not only Shen felt this way, but his opponent, Jackie Chan, felt the same way. Neither was willing to back down, and a fierce battle was inevitable. Jackie Chan, not Ip Man, took the initiative, as he's never been a passive fighter. He prefers to attack and is a master of offense. Faced with Jackie Chan's rapid and dense attacks, Ip Man could only dodge quickly. Initially, Ip Man seemed remarkably relaxed. Seeing that Ip Man still had room to maneuver, Jackie Chan increased his attack speed. Gradually, their fight became increasingly exciting. The audience witnessed this, truly the most thrilling match of the world's #1 martial arts tournament. The duel between two top masters left everyone in awe. As the pace quickened, both fighters ignited their fighting spirit, their drive growing stronger, their unwillingness to admit defeat evident. Sun Wukong, seeing Ip Man so serious, a rare sight indeed, indicating Jackie Chan's formidable strength, felt that, at least for now, their abilities were evenly matched, making it impossible to predict the final victory in such a short time. Lanky, stunned by the exciting match, almost forgot to cheer for Yushin, watching in disbelief. Yamcha, meanwhile, observed Jackie Chan's every move from the sidelines, his suspicions deeply ingrained, and he wouldn't easily change his mind. Seeing the stalemate, Jackie Chan wanted a quick victory. Any further dragging would mean losing the initiative. So, he unleashed his signature move, the double after-image fist. This move was incredibly powerful. The basic double after-image fist was already formidable, let alone the double after-image fist itself. Yushin, constantly dodging Jackie Chan's rapid attacks, had no time to turn the tide. Unable to reverse the situation, Yushin didn't want to continue this passive match. Jackie Chan was already preparing his ultimate move. Yushin, distracted, didn't notice Jackie Chan's move, and Jackie Chan seized the opportunity, taking advantage of Yushin's momentary lapse in concentration. Jackie Chan launched a swift attack on Yushin. His signature move, the double after-image fist, successfully struck Yushin. Jackie Chan smiled triumphantly. Yushin's chances of winning were slim, and his own victory was within reach. Yushin was hit by Jackie Chan's move. The double after-image fist's power was indeed formidable, and Yushin was immediately sent flying. The audience was stunned, with fans worried about Yushin's safety. After being knocked away, Yushin crashed into a wall. The audience was astonished by the power of Jackie Chan's move. It was the most powerful move they had seen in the entire competition. Even Yushin couldn't withstand it and was sent flying. Just when everyone thought Yushin wouldn't be able to get up, he miraculously stood up. Yushin returned to the stage, dusted himself off, and defiantly challenged Jackie Chan. Again, Sun Wukong, watching from below the stage, was extremely worried about Yushin after seeing him get knocked away. He wanted to help him, so he demonstrated the moves Yushin should use next. Yushin followed Sun Wukong's demonstration and slowly began to understand. He quickly grasped the moves. They were remarkably similar to the ones Jackie Chan had used earlier. Yushin gave Sun Wukong a thumbs up. Sun Wukong's idea was brilliant. Using Jackie Chan's own signature moves against him would have unexpected results. So Yushin began to imitate the moves Sun Wukong demonstrated, and soon he mastered them. Yushin used these moves to attack Jackie Chan. Yushin's move was even more powerful than Jackie Chan's. Someone recognized Yushin's move, the 3 Phantom Fist, 10 times more powerful than Jackie Chan's 2 Phantom Slap. Jackie Chan was incredibly surprised. His signature move had been learned so quickly, and even improved upon, becoming even more effective than his own. Ip Man attacked Jackie Chan, who barely managed to dodge the attack, sustaining minor injuries in the process. Jackie Chan was surprised and decided to change his strategy, abandoning the double shadow fist, as it wouldn't be enough to withstand Ip Man's attack. Instead, he decided to use the Kamehameha. As he prepared, Ip Man quickly recognized it as the Kamehameha, expressing his astonishment that Jackie Chan could use it. Ip Man assumed his stance and unleashed his own Kamehameha. The two were evenly matched, and a fierce battle was about to erupt. Seeing Jackie Chan use the Kamehameha, Ip Man, not to be outdone, also assumed his stance and prepared to attack with the same technique. Both sides were ready for another fierce battle, like two taut bowstrings, poised to snap at any moment. A fierce fight was about to begin. Jackie Chan was now unable to contain himself any longer. He was eager to defeat Ip Man and win first place in the competition, his ultimate goal in participating. Jackie Chan first launched a Kamehameha at Ip Man. Ip Man took a few steps back, and almost instantly, he also unleashed a Kamehameha at Jackie Chan. Thus, the Kamehameha of Ip Man and Jackie Chan became a head-to-head confrontation, the powerful energy streams of the Kamehameha constantly impacting each other. Both were incredibly strong, and the Kamehameha was being used at its full power. Eager to win, both Ip Man and Jackie Chan fought increasingly fiercely, making it even harder to control their power. The energy streams of the Kamehameha grew increasingly violent, even affecting the spectators closer to the stage. The spectators who were closer to the stands were affected by the airflow and could not sit properly. They had to move far away, but this did not diminish their enthusiasm for watching the exciting match. Chapter 483 Farewell. The audience retreated to considerable distance, even standing on tiptoe to get a better view. Ip Man and Jackie Chan faced off for several minutes, a physically demanding task. The outcome of the remaining matches would depend on who could hold out the longest. Neither Ip Man nor Jackie Chan could easily let go, because if they withdrew their Kamehameha, they wouldn't have time to dodge and would be vulnerable to the other's Kamehameha attacks. Ip Man was already drenched in sweat, his hands struggling to support him as he continuously unleashed his Kamehameha to counter Jackie Chan's attacks. Jackie Chan wasn't faring much better. He gritted his teeth and persevered, his forehead also covered in sweat. Slowly, the outcome became clear. Yi-Shen seemed to have the upper hand, his Kamehameha hadn't weakened at all, but rather seemed to be getting stronger, while Jackie Chan was gradually unable to withstand it. His Kamehameha was getting weaker and weaker until finally, Jackie Chan couldn't keep up. His strength waned, his body became extremely tired, and he couldn't withstand Yi-Shen's attacks. He was ultimately blasted away by the shockwave of Yi-Shen's Kamehameha. Jackie Chan was thrown a long way, almost flying off the entire arena. He crashed heavily into the railing, suffering a severe injury and unable to stand up. This meant Yi-Shen had won the match. The referee went to Jackie Chan's side, but Jackie Chan had already turned away and hadn't stood up after several seconds. The referee ultimately declared Yi-Shen the winner. At the moment the result was announced, the entire arena erupted in deafening cheers. Yi-Shen's victory was truly well-deserved. After defeating Jackie Chan, Yi-Shen was still a little dazed. The match was over just like that. He stood on the stage for a moment, stunned. Sun Wukong was overjoyed. He rushed onto the stage and hugged Yi-Shen. Overjoyed, Sun Wukong raised Yi-Shen's right hand, celebrating this hard-won victory. Yi-Shen heard Sun Wukong's excited shouts, "Yi-Shen, you did it. You're amazing. You're the champion of the World Martial Arts Tournament." Only then did Yi-Shen realize that it was all real. Wanting to confirm it was true, Yi-Shen asked Sun Wukong, "Is this real?" "I won." Sun Wukong excitedly shook Yi-Shen's shoulder and answered seriously, "Yes. It's true. You defeated Jackie Chan. You are the winner of this competition." Yi-Shen finally smiled. For so many days, with continuous matches, Yi-Shen had been on edge, never truly relaxing. Now that the competition was over, he felt much lighter. Perhaps because of the numerous matches scheduled over the past few days, Yi-Shen's body was extremely tired, but to achieve final victory, he still forced himself to continue in every match. Now that the competition was finally over, Yi-Shen could finally relax. He suddenly collapsed in front of Sun Wukong. Yi-Shen's collapse terrified Sun Wukong. Thinking something had happened to Yi-Shen, Sun Wukong became extremely anxious. Panicked, Yi-Shen collapsed right before his eyes. Sun Wukong quickly picked Yi-Shen up and took him to see a doctor. After Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong left the stage, the organizers were unsure who to give the trophy to. In the end, Lan Qi took the trophy back for Yi-Shen. Sun Wukong took Yi-Shen to the doctor, who examined him and found that Yi-Shen was fine, just extremely tired and needed rest. Sun Wukong was relieved to hear this. Since Yi-Shen was alright, everything was fine. This year's World Martial Arts Tournament had come to a complete end. The final results brought joy to some and sorrow to others. Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong were beaming with pride, while the atmosphere was somber for Nan-Wu and Jackie Chan. They had originally planned to return home after the competition. However, due to Yi-Shen's condition, Sun Wukong and Lan Qi had to stay with him. They decided to let Yi-Shen rest for a few days at the hotel until he fully recovered before leaving to continue their work. The competition was over, and everyone was heading home, packing their luggage. The next day, most of the contestants had left the hotel, except for Yi-Shen and his group. Yamcha and Bulma, who were quite familiar with Yi-Shen and his friends, decided to leave the following day. Yamcha wasn't satisfied with his ranking and wanted to leave immediately, but before leaving, he decided to say goodbye to Yi-Shen and Goku. Yamcha took Bulma to the room where Yi-Shen and Goku were and knocked on the door. Goku let them in. They chatted for a while, and when it was almost time, Yamcha and Bulma left. After leaving the hotel, Yamcha and Bulma got into a luxury car and drove away. After resting for 3 days, Yi-Shen's physical and mental state had almost recovered, and he felt they could leave. However, Goku, out of concern for Yi-Shen, insisted that he rest for another day. Yi-Shen understood Sun Wukong's concern. Unable to refuse, he could only follow Sun Wukong's arrangement and rest for an extra day. On the 4th day, Yi-Shen, Sun Wukong, and Lan Ke were indeed leaving. They packed their luggage early. Just as they were about to leave the hotel, they saw Nanwu looking worried in the lobby. Although Yi-Shen and Nanwu had a disagreement over a previous match, Yi-Shen was a very magnanimous person and had long since put those minor matters behind him. Seeing Nanwu sitting there with a furrowed brow and sighing frequently, Yi-Shen assumed that Nanwu must have encountered some difficulty. Yi-Shen was always a helpful person and couldn't help but lend a hand to those in trouble. Ignoring Nanwu's previous underhanded tactics, Yi-Shen approached Nanwu without holding a grudge. Yi-Shen sat down and politely asked Nanwu, "Why aren't you going back yet? I see everyone else has almost left, and you're the only one who hasn't packed your luggage." Upon hearing Yi-Shen's voice, Nanwu noticed that Yi-Shen had sat down in front of him. Nanwu sighed and answered Yi-Shen's question sadly. "I have no face to go back." Yi-Shen looked puzzled. "It's just a loss in a match. How can you have no face to go back? Is losing really that important?" Yi-Shen asked again, still confused. Chapter 484 Wu Tian. Losing the game means you have no face to go back? Go home. Hurry up and pack your bags. Nanwu's mood hadn't improved. In fact, it had become even more depressed. "You're only saying this because you don't understand my situation. If you knew, you'd understand how I feel." Nanwu only said half of what he meant, which made Yi-Shen even more suspicious. Yi-Shen pressed, "So what's troubling you? Tell me, maybe I can help you." Nanwu shook his head and said directly, "No, it's impossible. You can't help me. It's all too late." Nanwu painfully patted his head and lowered it. Yi-Shen saw Nanwu's dejected appearance, a stark contrast to the confident Nanwu from before. Yi-Shen really wanted to know what difficulties Nanwu had encountered. "Even if it's too late, if you just tell us, we can all work together to find a solution. It shouldn't be impossible, so tell me about your difficulties." Yi-Shen was very sincere. He genuinely wanted to help Nanwu solve his difficulties. Nanwu was also moved by Yi-Shen's sincerity and decided to tell him about his problems. "It's like this," Nanwu explained, "where I live, there's been a drought this year. It hasn't rained for months, and our lives have been greatly affected. We're almost unable to survive." Hearing this explanation, Yi-Shen was very saddened, and Nanwu's mood also became low. "So, is your participation in this competition related to this?" Yi-Shen had already guessed some of the reasons. Nanwu nodded and slowly said, "Yes, I participated in this competition to win first place. I heard that winning first place will bring a certain reward, and I want that reward. I'm asking the organizers to donate a large amount of water to us." Yi-Shen was deeply moved. All the previously inexplicable questions suddenly became clear. It turned out that Nanwu's hard work in preparing and researching beforehand was all for winning first place. It turned out that Nanwu's desire for first place wasn't selfish, it was for the sake of more people's survival. After hearing Nanwu's story, Yi-Shen suddenly felt incredibly ashamed. He felt that winning first place had suddenly lost its meaning, as if he had stolen someone else's hope. Yi-Shen felt terrible. He decided to do something for Nanwu before leaving the hotel to make up for his unintentional mistake. Yi-Shen decided to help Nanwu solve his current difficulties. After all, Nanwu carried the hopes of the villagers. If Nanwu returned empty-handed, it would only worsen the already dire situation. Yi-Shen called on Sun Wukong and Lan Ke to brainstorm solutions, and Sun Wukong and Lan Ke were also very willing to help Nanwu. However, this was no small matter. Their combined strength was insufficient to solve it. Yi-Shen couldn't think of a good solution for the time being. But Yi-Shen stood up, patted Nanwu's shoulder, and assured him, "Don't worry too much. We will definitely help you. They say many hands make light work. As long as we work together, the problem will eventually be solved." Yi-Shen's words greatly improved Nanwu's mood, easing his worries. Nanwu knew Yi-Shen very well. He was righteous and possessed extraordinary abilities. With Yi-Shen's help, there was still room for maneuver. Hearing Yi-Shen's words, Sun Wukong began to worry. He feared Yi-Shen had made too confident a promise, and it would be very awkward if he couldn't help Nanwu later. Sun Wukong reminded Yi Shen, while that's true, we don't have a solution right now. Where am I going to get so much water? Besides, we can't carry it back for Nanwu. Sun Wukong's words hit the nail on the head. Sun Wukong was right. These were problems that needed to be solved. Yi Shen suddenly thought of someone. This person might be able to provide them with great help. The person Yi Shen thought of was Master Wu Shen, who had some connections with the organizers. Yi Shen decided to take Nanwu to Master Wu Shen, tell him about Nanwu's difficulties, and ask Master Wu Shen to help him solve his problem. Having figured out this key point, Yi Shen quickly led everyone to find Master Wu Shen, finally locating him at the competition venue. Upon seeing Master Wu Shen, Yi Shen felt like he had seen a savior. He ran towards Master Wu Shen excitedly, greeting him, "Master, we've finally found you." Master Wu Shen looked at Yi Shen and Sun Wukong with a puzzled expression, and said in surprise, "The competition has been over for so long, why haven't you left yet?" Sun Wukong said with a grin. "We can't bear to part with you, teacher. We wanted to see you." Teacher Wu Shen tapped Sun Wukong on the head and said, "You're the best at talking, saying such nice things. Do you really miss me? So many days have passed since the competition ended, and you haven't come to see me at all. We thought you'd forgotten about your teacher," Sun Wukong said seriously. "How could we forget you, teacher? A teacher for a day is a father for life. You are like our elder, wise and brave, resourceful and virtuous," Teacher Wu Shen quickly said. All right, stop flattering me. Just tell me why you came to see me." Teacher Wu Shen had noticed early on that Yi Shen seemed preoccupied and absent-minded since entering, as if he was thinking about something. Teacher Wu Shen called Yi Shen's name and said, "Yi Shen, you can speak then." Yi Shen, having been called upon by Master Wu Tian, quickly snapped out of his daze. He organized his thoughts and spoke to Master Wu Tian. "The thing is, my friend is in trouble. We can't help him. The only acquaintance we know here is you, Master, so we brought him here hoping you can help him." Yi Shen pushed Nanwu in front of Master Wu Tian, who immediately recognized him as the player who had competed against Yi Shen. Master Wu Tian was surprised that this player was facing such difficulties. He asked Nanwu gently, "Tell me what's wrong. If I can help, I will do my best." Nanwu was very excited and quickly thanked Master Wu Tian. "Thank you, Master, thank you." With Master Wu Tian's words, Nanwu felt much more at ease. He then politely repeated what he had just said to Yi Shen, Sun Wukong, and Lan Qi to Master Wu Tian. Master Wu Shen was deeply moved after hearing Namo's story. He realized the immense pressure Namo had been under and felt that Namo was a responsible young man. Master Wu Shen felt great sympathy for Namo's plight and quickly tried to find a solution. Suddenly, the air fell silent as Namo anxiously awaited Master Wu Shen's reply. Chapter 485 The Panacea. After thinking for a while, Teacher Wu Tian came up with a very feasible solution. After Master Wu Shen had considered everything thoroughly, he gave Nanwu a reply, saying, "I've thought of a solution. I'll give you a super glue. You can use it to fill a large amount of water and take it back to solve your immediate problem." Nanwu was extremely excited upon hearing this news. The villagers were finally saved. He quickly asked, "Where's the super glue now?" Nanwu seemed very anxious. Master Wu Shen patiently explained, "I don't have a super glue on me right now. This was originally a prize the organizers prepared for the champion. Yi Shen won first place, and the prize hasn't been given to him yet. You'll have to ask Yi Shen if he's willing to give you the prize." Nanwu's extinguished hope was rekindled. After hearing Master Wu Shen's words, Nanwu quickly turned to look expectantly at Yi Shen. Yi Shen already had a super glue, so an extra one was useless to him. Considering Nanwu's special situation and his urgent need for the super glue, Yi Shen readily agreed. "I already have this, I don't need it, you can take it if you want." With Yi Shen's words, the huge weight lifted from Nanwu's heart. Nanwu was very grateful to Yi Shen for not holding a grudge and for being so generous in giving him the item. Nanwu said to Yi Shen with great emotion, thank you, Yi Shen. I really didn't expect that you would be the one to solve my problem in the end. I was wrong about what happened before, and I apologize to you here." After Nanwu finished speaking, he bowed to Yi Shen, who quickly helped Nanwu up and said, "You don't need to do that. It was just a small favor. Besides, I didn't take what happened before to heart at all." Nanwu was helped up, and the matter was resolved just like that. Yi Shen and the others had already wasted a lot of time. They should leave quickly, So after bidding farewell to Master Roshi and Nanwu, Yishin and Son Goku, along with Lanky, embarked on their journey to find the Dragon Balls. Yishin and the others carried the Dragon Ball radar to search for the Dragon Balls scattered throughout the world. This would be a huge task, but Yishin and the others were not afraid of hardship. Regarding the matter of Nanwu, after Yishin and the others left, Wu Tian took Nanwu to find the organizers and told them that Yishin had voluntarily given the prize to Nanwu. The organizers then gave the prize to Nanwu. Shortly after Yishin, Sun Wukong, and Lanky left the hotel, Master Wu Tian took Nanwu to the organizers and obtained the universal capsule. Nanwu was overjoyed and, after repeatedly thanking Master Wu Tian, embarked on his journey home. On this journey home, Nanwu was particularly happy. He specifically came to a lake with abundant fresh water. Nanwu planned to use the universal capsule to collect the lake's water and bring it back for the villagers to use. Nanwu observed the lake and found the water to be very clear and the environment serene, surrounded by mountains, a secluded place, so the water resources must be unpolluted. Namo cupped a handful of water in his hands, tasted it, and found it incredibly cool and sweet. He was very satisfied. Then, Namo recited the incantation his master, Master Wushin, had taught him, successfully using the universal capsule to fill it with water. He then shrunk the capsule, easily placing it in his pocket and carrying it home. Namo hurried home as fast as he could, taking the shortest route possible. He traveled a long and arduous journey, crossing mountains and valleys, and returned to his small village 2 days later. As soon as Namo reached the village entrance, he found many people anxiously waiting. The village had been suffering from a long drought, with a scorching sun baking the ground until it cracked, making the parched earth look grotesque and terrifying. Most of those waiting at the village entrance were elderly people. These elderly people had been waiting there for 3 days, filled with hope for Namo's return, hoping to see him bring back life-saving water. The elderly were not in good health. They would wait at the village entrance under the blazing sun after every meal. Even the villagers were reluctant to part with the water. They had already said the competition was over, and the elderly villagers were waiting there. Nanwu was their only hope, which was why he had been under so much pressure. Seeing these elderly people waiting weakly for him, their eyes filled with desperate hope, Nanwu felt a pang of heartache. Fortunately, he had brought back water, enough to help the village through this most difficult time. When Nanwu approached, the elderly didn't see him return with water, they only saw him empty-handed. Their hopes were shattered instantly, and some couldn't contain their grief, bursting into loud sobs. The elderly cried out, "No hope! No hope! Heaven is taking the lives of our entire village! Heaven, have mercy on us!" Many elderly people collapsed to the ground, repeatedly praying to the sky, humanity begging for mercy from nature. Seeing this, Nanwu knew the elderly had misunderstood something, and he wanted to explain quickly. Nanwu approached the old people, who looked at him with tearful eyes and despair. One old man asked, "Is there really no hope? Look at those children, look at those women, how many more days can they survive? The village only has half a vat of water left. They can only survive for 3 more days. After that, the whole village will cease to exist." The old man spoke with heartbreaking sorrow. Nanwu tried to calm him down and quickly took out a miracle capsule from his bag, showing it to the old people. At the same time, Nanwu, suppressing his grief, patiently explained to them. The old people looked at the tiny capsule Nanwu had produced. They were very puzzled. Such a small capsule could only hold a drop of water at most. Was Nanwu joking? One old man said sadly, "Child, have you gone mad searching for water? How much water can such a small thing hold? It's not even enough to fill a tooth gap. It's truly been hard on you, child. Going to find water alone is no easy task. We don't blame you, it's just bad luck." The old man didn't mean to blame Nanwu, but rather felt very sorry for him, knowing how hard he had worked. "It's not what you see," Namo explained. "There's a lot of water inside, lots and lots of it. This thing is called a universal capsule. It has a huge capacity and can hold a lot of things." After hearing Namo's explanation, most people didn't believe him. They thought Namo had gone mad. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 486, Self-Imposed Grave. Seeing everyone's despair, Nanwu felt the matter couldn't be delayed any longer. So, he quickly recited an incantation, opening the universal capsule. The capsule instantly grew enormous, like a mountain, its massive shadow providing shade for everyone present. This transformation stunned everyone. It turned out Nanwu's words were true, the child wasn't insane after all, and had even brought back so much water. The old people were overjoyed. They cheered and shouted in celebration, thinking it was a dream. They were so happy they almost fainted. One old man patted Nanwu's shoulder, his eyes brimming with tears. "Child, thank you so much. We're so fortunate to have such a promising child. You're a great benefactor to all of us." Nanwu, embarrassed by the old man's words, replied with a blush. "Old man, you flatter me. This is what I should do. I was just lucky to bring back so much water." The news that Nanwu had brought back a large amount of water quickly spread throughout the village. Everyone, young and old, men and women, brought water containers and flocked to the village entrance to see this precious water. It was a spectacular scene. A long line of people waited to fill their containers, and every household brought everything they could to hold water. Once everyone was there, Nanwu prepared to distribute the water to each household, distributing the amount according to the number of people in each household. He was extremely careful, afraid of spilling a drop, not wanting to waste even a single drop. Having experienced this drought, they knew how precious water was. Distributing the water took a long time, and Nanwu didn't finish until dark. After the task was completed, Nanwu finally breathed a sigh of relief. The village's immediate crisis was finally over. The crowd gathering for water gradually dispersed. Nanwu, having composed himself, dragged his weary body back home. Once home, he could finally take a relaxing bath and then went to bed early. Nanwu's problems were mostly resolved, while Yashin and Sun Wukong had just completed a leg of their journey and finally found a place to rest. They needed to stop and rest. Yashin led Sun Wukong and Lan Qi to a rest stop. They had been busy on the road all day and needed a good rest. Yashin and the others had been using a Dragon Ball radar to search for Guan Yi's Dragon Balls. Following the radar's directions, they had discovered the Dragon Ball. However, Yashin was unaware of all this, and even less aware that he would see Nanwu again in half a month and teach him once more. The next day at dawn, Yashin set off with Sun Wukong and Lan Qi. They were in a hurry. This time their mission was huge, and they needed to speed things up. As for Nanwu, the pressure on him lessened considerably, and everyone treated him with exceptional respect. Now, Nemo has become a great hero to the entire village, so everyone treats him with exceptional kindness. The water Nemo brought back is enjoyed by everyone. Remembering Nemo's kindness, everyone is particularly careful with water usage after this drought. Although Nemo brought back a lot of water, and everyone is very economical with their water, the water is still slowly being consumed, gradually decreasing in the wells, and this trend is unstoppable. Nemo sometimes visits each household, and when he sees the water in each family's water tank slowly decreasing, he becomes very worried. This can't go on. Nemo roughly calculates that the amount of water he brought back can only support the entire village for at most half a month. After that, the water problem will again become a major difficulty. In this kind of weather, there's no possibility of rain. Hoping for rain is tantamount to waiting to die. Nanwu's head throbbed at the thought of this problem. He had finally managed to gather so much water, and even with the help of the miracle capsule, where could he find so much more? Even if he kept searching, the water would eventually run out. If the surface water was depleted, it would be suicide, and Nanwu didn't want to see that happen. Suddenly, a thought struck him: if only he could find a continuous, clean, and abundant water source, that would be their savior. But finding such a source was incredibly difficult. However, Nanwu didn't give up hope. He wanted to seize this last glimmer of hope to protect everyone in the village. As Nanwu considered this, he began planning his departure. He quickly packed his belongings. He was about to embark on another long journey. Nanwu explained his purpose to the village elders, who appreciated his foresight and agreed to let him go, warning him to be careful. Nanwu wanted to find a suitable water source before the village's water supply was completely exhausted. This task was even heavier than the last, and carried even greater hopes. Nanwu didn't slacken for a moment. He hurried on his way, venturing into deep mountains and dense forests, places where water sources were easier to find. Nanwu traveled for a long time, reaching the far reaches of the land. The areas he had passed through were all experiencing drought, conditions not much different from his village. Nanwu was extremely anxious, and he quickened his pace, looking at the cracked earth, the barren hills, the dried-up lakes. The scenes along the way pained him deeply. Humanity seemed utterly powerless in the face of such extreme weather. This was nature's punishment for humanity's neglect of the environment. Nanwu sighed repeatedly, realizing it would be difficult to find water on the surface. He should search deep in the mountains, or perhaps go to caves, where underground water might flow. Without hesitation, Namo acted immediately upon his thought. Unfortunately, after searching several high, deep mountains, he found no obvious underground water source. Most of the trees on these mountains were charred. It seemed hopeless. Just as Namo was becoming discouraged, he passed by and discovered a nearly dried-up river. The river was now just a trickle, but its channel was remarkably wide. Namo could see that just a few days ago, this river had been wide, but the extreme heat and rapid evaporation, coupled with a lack of replenishment, had reduced it to a mere trickle. In such weather conditions, maintaining even a trickle was remarkable. This indicated that there was a permanent water source upstream, capable of providing water continuously regardless of drought conditions. Chapter 487 Water Source. Namo became incredibly excited at this thought. What invaluable news! He acted quickly, heading upstream along the riverbed. The further he went, the more his suspicions were confirmed by the sights he saw. Suddenly, Namo felt reassured. He had found hope for the entire village. Instantly, his fatigue vanished, and he was filled with renewed energy. Namo continued upstream, watching the water flow gradually increase and the volume become more abundant. When he was thirsty, he drank directly from the river. Just as Namo was about to reach the upper reaches of the river, he encountered a major crisis. He met a monster on the way, who had also come here because of the abundant water resources. The monster wanted to possess all the water. It feared the upcoming drought and had searched desperately to find this treasure. Seeing Namo, the monster was furious. Fearing that Namo would steal its hard-won water resources, it tried to capture him. After discovering Nanwu's intrusion, the monster first secretly watched Nanwu's every move from a hidden place. It saw Nanwu drink water from the river. The monster was displeased. No one could touch its things, and it decided to teach Nanwu a lesson. Nanwu, unaware of the monster's presence, was completely oblivious to the danger that awaited him. Seeing that Nanwu hadn't noticed, the monster seized the opportunity to ambush him from behind. Nanwu, still oblivious, was still immersed in his joy. The monster approached from behind, ready to seize him. By the time Nanwu felt something behind him, it was too late. The monster had already grabbed him from behind. The monster was incredibly strong, much stronger than Nanwu, so Nanwu couldn't move. Even after struggling a few times, it was futile, and he was firmly held in the monster's grasp. Nanwu felt a wave of despair. How could he be so unlucky? He had finally found a suitable water source, only to encounter a terrifying monster. And, tragically, he had been captured by it. The monster was known for its ruthlessness, and falling into its hands seemed like certain death for Nanwu. Just when Nanwu felt utterly hopeless, a turning point unexpectedly arrived. Like finding a way out of a seemingly hopeless situation, a glimmer of hope appeared. This turning point came when Yi-Shen, along with Sun Wukong and Lan Qi, happened to pass through this dangerous place. Following the directions of the Dragon Ball radar, they found drinking water and went to drink. It was then that Yi-Shen, from afar, witnessed the monster stealing Nanwu. Initially, Yi-Shen hadn't seen Nanwu. He first noticed the monster. While he was wondering why there was a monster there, he saw the monster attack Nanwu. Yi-Shen witnessed a fight between Nanwu and the monster until Nanwu's face was revealed. Only then did Yi-Shen recognize the person as Nanwu. Yi-Shen was extremely excited to see Nanwu. He, Sun Wukong, and Lan Qi rushed to deal with the monster, who was preparing to take Nanwu back to its cave. Just as the monster was about to carry Nanwu back, Yi-Shen and the others arrived in time, blocking the monster's path. The monster was startled by their sudden appearance. Without a word, Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong attacked the monster. Caught off guard, the monster panicked and released Nanwu in its haste to defend itself. Lan Qi caught Nanwu. Seeing that Lan Qi had caught him, Nanwu was filled with curiosity. Since Lan Qi was here, the two who had attacked the monster must have been Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong. Nanwu was incredibly grateful for this unexpected stroke of luck. It must be that heaven took pity on him and arranged this serendipitous encounter. Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong were both incredibly powerful individually, let alone fighting the monster together. Unable to withstand the combined attacks of Yi Shen and Sun Wukong, the monster fled in disarray to save its life. After driving the monster away, Yi Shen and Sun Wukong arrived before Nanwu. Nanwu was overjoyed to see them. He hadn't expected to meet them in this place, and that they had saved him once again. Nanwu greeted everyone happily, saying, "My goodness, what a coincidence. How did you all end up here?" Yi Shen patted Nanwu on the shoulder, jokingly saying, "If we hadn't come, you might be the monster's meal in an hour." Nanwu was very grateful to Yi Shen and Sun Wukong for their rescue, saying, "Thank you all for saving me. Otherwise, I might not have seen the sun tomorrow." Sun Wukong teased, "I'm sure you don't want to see the sun right now either." This immediately reminded Nanwu, yes, after working for so long, the last thing he wanted to see every day was the sun. How much better it would be to see dark clouds. As Nanwu thought this, he suddenly drifted off into thought. Seeing Nanwu lost in thought, Yi Shen waved his hand in front of Nanwu's eyes. Nanwu snapped out of his reverie and heard Yi Shen ask him, "What are you doing here? Why are you here alone?" Nanwu remembered some unpleasant things and said dejectedly, "It all started because of the water." Yi Shen asked, puzzled, "Didn't you solve your problem? Why are you still troubled by this?" Nanwu told him the truth. "Although I brought back a lot of water, the village has many people and consumes a lot of water, so that water won't last long. At most, I need to find a continuous water source within half a month to ensure we can all survive." Yi Shen was very moved after hearing this, and suddenly thought of the principle that it's better to teach a man to fish than to give him a fish. Nanwu was also very curious about how Yi Shen and the others came to be here, so he asked. Yi Shen decided to tell Nanwu some of their stories, so he said, "It's like this, we are looking for the Dragon Balls. According to the Dragon Ball radar, we have to pass through here, which is why we saw you here." Nanwu exclaimed in understanding. "Oh, I see," but Nanwu didn't know what the Dragon Balls were. He had never heard of them before, so he asked in confusion, "What are these Dragon Balls? What are you looking for them for?" Yi Shen felt it was unnecessary to tell Nanwu these things, so he said, "You don't need to know these things, and even if you did, it wouldn't be of any use to you." Nanwu felt that Yi Shen's words made sense, so he didn't press the matter. Yi Shen remembered Nanwu's search for a water source and deliberately reminded him. Chapter 488 Mixed Rice. You came here to find a water source, right? Don't waste time. You should hurry up and find it. I think the water source is just ahead. While we still have some time, we'll go help you find it. Nanwu was overjoyed to hear that Yi Shen and the others wanted to help him find the water source. He quickly said, "Okay, I almost forgot. Let's hurry and find the water source." Nanwu immediately set off without hesitation, leading Yi Shen and the others upstream. They continued upstream for about half an hour, and then they saw a spring at the end of the river. This spring was constantly gushing water. Nanwu was overjoyed to see this. He quickly ran to the spring to check it out. The spring had a large flow of water, and the water quality was exceptionally good. Nanwu squatted down, scooped up some water, and took a sip. The taste was excellent. Now that the water source had been found, Nanwu should take out the universal capsule to fill it with water. He could then simply come back periodically to collect more. Nanwu took out the universal capsule, used the incantation, and successfully activated it. The capsule suddenly expanded and began absorbing the water flowing from the spring. At this absorption rate, it would take about another hour. Now that they had found the water source for Nanwu, Yi Shen, Sun Wukong, and Lan Qi had no reason to stay any longer. The three of them needed to continue their journey to find the Dragon Ball left by their grandfather. So Yi Shen decided to say goodbye to Nanwu, saying, "We should continue with our work. You stay here and collect water. We'll meet again someday." Sun Wukong and Lan Qi also bid farewell to Nanwu. Nanwu reluctantly said goodbye to Yi Shen and the others. Yi Shen continued on his way with Sun Wukong and Lan Qi, leaving Nanwu alone to collect water. Yi Shen and his friends had been traveling for a long time, getting closer and closer to the location indicated by the Dragon Ball radar. After reaching a certain distance, the location indicated by the Dragon Ball radar became increasingly accurate. Yi Shen was extremely happy, constantly adjusting his position, leading Goku and Lan Qi forward. As long as they could find Grandpa's Dragon Balls, Yi Shen was willing to endure any hardship. Now, they had found the Dragon Ball's whereabouts thanks to the Dragon Ball radar. On the other side, Unbeknownst to Yi-Shen and his friends, Zihan had witnessed Yi-Shen transform into a giant star before, and he had kept that scene in his mind. He was terrified, to the point that for a long time, he couldn't sleep whenever he thought about it, and sometimes he would even have nightmares about it. Zihan was particularly distressed. He dreamt about it every night. Every night, Zihan couldn't sleep, and whenever he thought about Yi-Shen turning into a giant gorilla, he would be terrified, constantly fantasizing that it was because he was overly frightened. But Zihan didn't want things to continue like this. He wanted to find a way to change the situation. He hadn't had a good night's sleep in a long time. Zahofen desperately wanted a good night's rest. He was incredibly exhausted, lacking energy, with severe dark circles under his eyes, and felt sleepy all day. But a mountain of things awaited him every day. Zahofen was extremely distressed by this until one day one of his subordinates suggested a plan, which rekindled his hope. His subordinate mentioned the Dragon Balls and explained their uses and benefits, making Zahofen extremely eager to obtain them. He desperately wanted to change this situation, so he was determined to get the Dragon Balls. Zahofen dispatched all his men to search for the Dragon Balls. After a great deal of time and resources, his men finally found them. They brought the news back to Zahofen. Upon hearing this, Zahofen was filled with passion and wanted to find the Dragon Balls immediately. This news overjoyed Zahofen. His excitement was barely contained. He was sitting inside the spaceship when his subordinates brought back the news, and he nearly fell out of the ship in his excitement. The scene looked particularly comical, but Zahofen didn't care at all. He no longer cared about his image. All he wanted was to get the dragon and live a peaceful life with it. It had been a distant dream before, but now he saw hope. As long as there was hope, Zahofen would hold on to it tightly, even if it was slim. Actually, the location where Zahofen's subordinates had found the Dragon Ball was the same place Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong were heading to. They were looking for the same Dragon Ball. Yi-Shen and the others never imagined that someone already knew the Dragon Ball's location, and that this person was even faster, arriving at the location first. Yi-Shen and his companions were traveling slowly using a combination of walking and vehicles. The wealthy Zazushi, a character from a popular Chinese TV show, flew directly to the location of the Dragon Balls and bought them for a hefty sum. Meanwhile, Yi-Shen and Goku remained unaware of this, continuing their journey as planned. When they arrived at the location indicated by the Dragon Ball radar, they discovered it was a village. Upon entering the village, Yi-Shen found it to be a mysterious tribe, almost completely isolated from the outside world, thus maintaining its secrecy and primitiveness. The simple folk customs and somewhat hostile attitude towards outsiders made Yi-Shen and Goku feel a little uncomfortable. Initially, the villagers mistook them for bad people. Only after Yi-Shen and Goku repeatedly explained and assured them did the villagers finally believe them, making the whole process incredibly difficult. Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong had finally gained the villagers' trust, and just as they were about to inquire about the Dragon Balls, they unexpectedly learned some very bad news. Someone had already arrived before them. That mysterious group was none other than Zahofen and his men. Yi-Shen learned from the villagers that the first group to arrive was indeed Zahofen and his group, and that Zahofen had spent a large sum of money to buy the Dragon Balls from the villagers. Zahofen obtained the Dragon Balls remarkably easily for a simple reason. The villagers had discovered the Dragon Balls by accident and assumed they were just ordinary beads. They didn't know they were Dragon Balls, let alone their purpose. When someone as wealthy as Zahofen arrived and offered to buy them for a large sum of money, the villagers were astonished and overjoyed. Someone actually wanted this seemingly ordinary bead. Since it could be worth so much money, why not take it? Chapter 489 Bold Demon King. Since the villagers had no use for the Dragon Ball anyway, they figured it was more practical to exchange it for money. So, they readily agreed to the mixed rice's request, exchanging the Dragon Ball for a large sum of money. Yi-Shen was a little stunned when he heard the news. They had worked so hard, traveled so far, and spent so much time finding the Dragon Ball, only to have someone else find it first and buy it. Yi-Shen felt a pang of disappointment. As for Sun Wukong, he was even more furious. He couldn't control his emotions and said to Yi-Shen, "I'm so angry. Someone found the Dragon Ball before us. I'm furious. I'm going to find that person and settle the score." Lan Qi echoed, "Yes, this feeling is really unpleasant. We worked so hard, and someone else took it. We can't just let it go like this." Yi-Shen felt the same way. He absolutely couldn't let it go. He was determined to find the mixed rice and get the Dragon Ball back. Since the Dragon Ball was no longer in the village, Yi-Shin and his companions saw no need to waste any more time there. Their immediate priority was to find Zuzumi and force him to hand over the remaining Dragon Ball. Without even a chance to rest, they left the village and hurried on their way to find Zuzumi. They were exhausted, but they couldn't worry about that now. They inquired about Zuzumi's location along the way. Finally, they found out and continued their journey, though they were still quite far from his home. Despite their fatigue, they persevered. Yi-Shin, along with Goku and Lanky, arrived at Zuzumi's territory in the shortest possible time. A fierce battle was about to begin. Yi-Shin and his companions arrived aggressively, determined to thoroughly subdue Zuzumi. However, if Zuzumi willingly handed over the Dragon Ball, Yi-Shin and Goku would consider letting him go. Why were Yi-Shin and Sun Wukong so arrogant? Because they had the strength. Their power was undeniable. Together, they were practically invincible. Yi-Shin and Sun Wukong stormed into Zahufen's territory, easily defeating his henchmen without lifting a finger, and then stomped right in front of him. Zahufen was startled by their sudden appearance, and upon recognizing them, he was terrified. His first thought was to run. Zahufen was terrified of Yi-Shin and Sun Wukong, and now Lan Ki had joined the fray, whose abilities were said to be extraordinary. Zahufen's cowardice stemmed from witnessing Yi-Shin and Sun Wukong's power firsthand. He knew he was no match for them, and now that they had come knocking, he was even more frightened. Yi-Shin was Zahufen's nightmare, and now that nightmare was right before his eyes, he almost fainted from fright. Zahufen couldn't understand why Yi-Shin and Sun Wukong were here. They had no connection, no deep-seated hatred, so why did they look at him like that? Yi-Shin said fiercely to Zahufen. Hand over the stuff, quickly, I don't have time. Zahufen was extremely confused. He asked in a trembling, hesitant voice, what do you want me to hand over? I don't remember taking anything from you, Sun Wukong said loudly but slowly. The Dragon Ball. You stole the Dragon Ball we wanted, so that's what it was about, the Dragon Ball. But the Dragon Ball was something he desperately wanted, and Zahufen didn't want to obediently hand it over to Yi-Shin and the others. Zahufen was plotting his own scheme. He didn't want to just hand over the Dragon Ball, which he had bought at great expense, to Yi-Shin and the others for nothing. Although Zahufen was terrified of Yi-Shin and Sun Wukong, it didn't mean he would willingly hand over the Dragon Ball. Zahufen planned to fool them with a fake spirit pearl. Finally, under pressure from Yi-Shin and Sun Wukong, Zahufen ordered his men to fetch the Dragon Ball, but he secretly instructed them to give them the fake one. Thus, Yi-Shin and Sun Wukong ended up with a fake Dragon Ball, while the real one remained in Zahufen's possession. Yi-Shin and his companions were unaware of this, believing Zahufen had honestly handed over the Dragon Ball. However, Yi-Shin felt something was amiss, as if the Dragon Ball had come too easily. Sun Wukong, oblivious to the danger, didn't suspect anything. Meanwhile, a third force also desired a real Dragon Ball, the Red Ribbon Army, who were steadily approaching it. It was also Yi-Shin and his companions' carelessness that led them to fail to question the Dragon Ball given by Zahufen. Although it looked identical, the Dragon Ball radar couldn't detect a fake one. However, the Dragon Ball radar wasn't very accurate. While in Zahufen's territory, it showed the location as specific location. This misled Yi-Shin and his group into believing they had it, and they didn't check it until they left Zahufen's territory. If they had checked it, they might have immediately discovered it was fake, and the real Dragon Ball was still in Zahufen's possession. The Red Ribbon Army was steadily approaching Zahufen's location, while Zahufen remained oblivious to the approaching danger, still lost in his daydreams. Although Yi-Shin and his group were in a bad situation, there was good news for Bull Demon King and his group. Bull Demon King had unintentionally obtained a Dragon Ball. This was quite strange. Once, when Bull Demon King was descending a mountain, he happened to be caught in a heavy rain and had to take shelter in a cave. The sky was dark, thick with clouds, making the cave even more shrouded in darkness. As the Bull Demon King looked around, he noticed something. Curious, he approached the glowing object and picked it up. Holding it in his hand, he realized he'd seen it somewhere before. Suddenly, he remembered. He had once possessed something like this, called the Dragon Ball. To repay Yi-Shin and Sun Wukong, he had given it to them. But he couldn't understand why he had another one here. Puzzled, he decided to take it back to his castle and preserve it carefully, waiting to give it to Yi-Shin and Sun Wukong when they returned. He knew they had been searching for it diligently, and he wanted to help them. Chapter 490 Premonition. The Bull Demon King didn't tell anyone this news, not even his daughter Chi-Chi. He knew it would cause a huge uproar, so he tried to keep a low profile and prevent others from finding out. However, unbeknownst to him, various people had been planted around him, and spies were constantly passing information out. But the Bull Demon King didn't know that those around him were actually spies planted by different factions, and eventually, the news leaked out. The first to learn of this was the faction of the Mixed Rice faction. Their subordinates brought back information that the Bull Demon King also possessed a Dragon Ball, and that he had a particularly good relationship with Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong. With a little effort, they could easily obtain the Dragon Ball. The Mixed Rice faction strategists suggested a plan: have someone impersonate Yi-Shen or Sun Wukong to gain the Bull Demon King's trust, and then trick him into giving them the Dragon Ball. This was the easiest way. Mixed Rice thought this idea was excellent, so he selected someone with a similar build and appearance to Yi-Shen, disguised this person as Yi-Shen, and sent them to find the Bull Demon King. Mixed Rice's subordinate, after being dressed as Yi-Shen, looked remarkably like him, almost to the point of being indistinguishable from the real Yi-Shen. Even those familiar with Yi-Shen wouldn't be able to tell the difference based solely on appearance, let alone the Bull Demon King, who had never spent much time with Yi-Shen. Therefore, Mixed Rice was particularly confident and boldly sent his subordinate to the Bull Demon King's castle. Mixed Rice's subordinate performed exceptionally well, impersonating Yi-Shen convincingly, just like the real Yi-Shen. Mixed Rice's subordinate successfully entered the Bull Demon King's castle. The Bull Demon King, thinking it was the real Yi-Shen visiting him, warmly welcomed Mixed Rice's subordinate. He then mysteriously led Mixed Rice's subordinate to his secret chamber and took out the Dragon Ball he had been keeping. The Bull Demon King confidently entrusted the Dragon Ball to his subordinate, Zhaofen. He was quite at ease, knowing he would be furious if he knew the man before him, Yi-Shen, was an impostor trying to steal the Dragon Ball. Zhaofen's subordinate performed admirably, remaining impassive even after the Bull Demon King handed him the Dragon Ball. Only when the subordinate was far from the Bull Demon King's castle did he find a secluded spot, secretly change out of his fake attire, and return to his true self to deliver the Dragon Ball to Zhaofen. Zhaofen's subordinate had successfully gained the Bull Demon King's trust, and the Bull Demon King himself handed the Dragon Ball to him without a second thought. By the time he realized what had happened, the real Yi-Shen had already returned to the castle. Zhaofen's subordinate had successfully retrieved the Dragon Ball and delivered it safely to Zhaofen. Fearing exposure, Mixed Rice boarded his ship to escape, unaware that the Red Ribbon Army had been watching him closely and was aware of his every move. As the saying goes, the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Mixed Rice was the mantis, and the Red Ribbon Army wanted to be the oriole. The Red Ribbon Army had planted spies around Mixed Rice, keeping abreast of his every move. After learning that Mixed Rice had obtained 2 Dragon Balls, the Red Ribbon Army decided to take action. Mixed Rice fled in his spaceship from the direction of the Ox King's castle, while the Red Ribbon Army secretly followed his every move. On Yi-Shen's side, Yi-Shen, believing he had obtained the Dragon Ball, excitedly rushed back to the Bull Demon King's castle. However, they were unaware they had been tricked. Yi-Shen and his companions were hurrying to return to the castle as quickly as possible. On their way back, Yi-Shen glanced up at the sky and saw a spaceship flying by. The spaceship was flying in the opposite direction to theirs. Based on the spaceship's trajectory, Yi-Shen deduced that it had come from the direction of the Bull Demon King's castle. Yi-Shen was puzzled. Whose spaceship was it, and what had happened in that direction? Yi-Shen didn't know what had happened, but that wasn't his concern at the moment. He needed to get back to the Bull Demon King's castle as quickly as possible. Sun Wukong was equally astonished. He had never seen such a large spaceship before. As it flew by, it looked like a huge dark cloud, creating a sense of oppression. The spaceship that Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong saw and were surprised to see was none other than Zhaofen's spaceship. Zhaofen was inside, currently fleeing, and had no time to appreciate the scenery outside the window, much less see Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong on their faces. Zhaofen was fleeing in a panic, partly out of fear that the Bull Demon King would send his henchmen to hunt him down, and partly because he had discovered that the Red Ribbon Army was also eyeing the Dragon Ball in his possession. Zhaofen felt he couldn't afford to offend either side, but he had already offended both, and neither side would easily let him go. Zhaofen wanted the Dragon Ball but also wanted to save his life, so he had no choice but to run. However, The Red Ribbon Army relentlessly pursued him, making Zhaofen extremely anxious. While resting, Yi Shen and Sun Wukong noticed a group of people advancing frantically in the distance. Thinking they were heading for them, they took Rulanki and hid in the dense forest. Yi Shen and Sun Wukong secretly observed the group. When they got close, Yi Shen, Sun Wukong, and Rulanki held their breath. Yi Shen examined the insignia on the group. He recognized them as members of the Red Ribbon Legion, whom he had seen before. However, Yi Shen didn't know the purpose of this large-scale movement. He only had a vague feeling that something bad was about to happen. Yi Shen suddenly became worried about the Bull Demon King's situation. Perhaps the Red Ribbon Legion was coming from the Bull Demon King's castle. Yi Shen told Sun Wukong his thoughts. "Wukong, I have a bad feeling. I have a feeling something has happened to the Bull Demon King." Sun Wukong wasn't as perceptive as Yi Shen. He didn't think there was anything wrong with it until Yi Shen pointed it out to him. What could be wrong? Yi Shen explained to Sun Wukong. Just look at that group of people. Chapter 491 Cleanup. Yi Shen pointed to the group of Red Ribbon Legion members. Sun Wukong looked at the group thoughtfully, and after a while, he finally understood, realizing Yi Shen's point. "Oh, I see. Let's hurry back then." Yi Shen nodded, and then led Sun Wukong and Lan Qi on their journey. Yi Shen and Sun Wukong, along with Lan Qi, returned to the Bull Demon King's castle in the shortest possible time. On their way back to the castle, they passed through a village and found that it had been completely looted by the Red Ribbon Legion, and the villagers had all been tied up. Out of kindness, Yi Shen and Sun Wukong cleared out the remaining Red Ribbon Legion members from the village and rescued the villagers. Yi Shen and Sun Wukong learned from the villagers that the Red Ribbon Legion had taken over the Bull Demon King's castle, and it was still several hours' journey from the village to the castle. It turned out that things were indeed as Yi Shen had guessed. The Bull Demon King's castle was in trouble, and Yi Shen and Sun Wukong needed to hurry back to help him. So Yi Shen and Sun Wukong, along with Lan Qi, set off quickly. This time, they skipped walking and used their somersault cloud. Sun Wukong used one cloud each, while Yi Shen and Lan Qi rode on his own. Soon, Yi Shen and Sun Wukong arrived outside the castle. They found a large group of Red Ribbon Legion soldiers surrounding the castle, completely blocking access. They didn't know how to get in. It seemed they would have to force their way in. Fortunately, the Bull Demon King's castle had high walls, and despite the Red Ribbon Legion's numbers, they were troubled by the easily defensible walls. They had no choice but to set up camp outside the city, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Meanwhile, inside the castle, the Bull Demon King was directing the defenses. He was frantic with worry. Although the castle was difficult to attack, they couldn't get out, and food and water became a major problem. The Bull Demon King didn't know how much longer he could hold out. When they ran out of supplies, the hungry and thirsty outsiders would scale the walls, leaving them no choice but to surrender and await their deaths. The Bull Demon King was furious at the thought. The Red Ribbon Army was truly outrageous, showing no respect for him whatsoever. But the Bull Demon King was now in a dilemma. He couldn't get reinforcements, and messages couldn't be sent out. He was like a trapped beast. The Bull Demon King was helpless and distressed, feeling utterly hopeless. But he didn't know that a turning point had appeared. And that turning point was Yi Shen and Sun Wukong outside the castle. Yi Shen and Sun Wukong decided to break through the encirclement with Lan Qi. Both Yi Shen and Sun Wukong were exceptionally strong, easily taking on 100 men each. Yi Shen charged into the Red Ribbon Army, defeating them with ease. The same was true for Sun Wukong and Lan Qi. Yi Shen led Sun Wukong and Lan Qi in a charge, and everything went smoothly. They cleared out most of the Red Ribbon Army from the outside, while the remaining members, seeing the situation was dire, abandoned the castle and fled. Yi Shen and Sun Wukong once again did the Bull Demon King a great favor. Hearing the fighting outside, the Bull Demon King sent men to investigate. The men, standing on the city wall, were astonished by the chaos below. Upon closer inspection, they spotted two familiar figures in the turmoil. The Bull Demon King's men immediately recognized them as Yi Shen and Sun Wukong, and were stunned, wondering when they had returned. What surprised Bull Demon King's subordinates even more was that the three of them alone had managed to rout such a large group of people outside. Seeing this, they felt the castle was saved and quickly ran back to tell Bull Demon King the news, easing his worries. Bull Demon King's castle was safe, all thanks to Yi Shen, Sun Wukong, and Lan Qi's timely return. Otherwise, the situation would have been dire. Bull Demon King's subordinates happily ran back to him and told him the news. Your Majesty, I have very good news, Bull Demon King asked impatiently. What good news is it? His subordinate asked. Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong are back, they're outside. The Bull Demon King was overjoyed upon hearing this and quickly asked, You mean, the fighting outside was caused by Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong? His subordinate replied, Not only them, they brought a girl back with them. The Bull Demon King was so happy to hear of Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong's return that he forgot to ask about the situation outside. He only remembered after calming down. So, what's the situation outside now? His subordinate told the Bull Demon King the good news truthfully. The Red Ribbon army outside has been almost completely wiped out by Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong. They pose virtually no threat now. The castle is safe. The Bull Demon King's worries finally dissipated, and he laughed heartily, his cheerful laughter echoing throughout the palace. The Bull Demon King said happily, Let's go. Called all the guards and people to the city gate to welcome our heroes back. The Bull Demon King was in a particularly good mood, so he led everyone to welcome Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong, including his daughter Kiki. Kiki was very familiar with Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong. They had been through some things together and could be considered friends. Kiki was very excited to hear that Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong had returned and immediately went to the city gate. Meanwhile, on Yi-Shen's side, they had finally driven away the Red Ribbon army, and the area outside the castle was much emptier, but the mess was still very noticeable. Just as Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong, along with Lan Qi, reached the city gate, the gate suddenly opened, startling Sun Wukong. A swarm of people rushed out to greet Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong, calling out their names. Kiki raised an eyebrow, nudged Sun Wukong's shoulder, and said, I didn't expect you two to be so famous. Sun Wukong replied with a smug smile. Of course, everyone here should thank us too, Lan Qi said, patting Sun Wukong's head with dissatisfaction. Now there are 3 of us, yes, 3, and now you two. Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong once again rescued the castle from danger, and the Bull Demon King's gratitude towards them grew even stronger. The Bull Demon King walked out of the city gate and reached out to hug Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong, but he didn't recognize Lan Qi, so Yi-Shen introduced him to Qi. Kiki rushed over, overjoyed to see Yi-Shen and the others after so long. Kiki greeted Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong, saying, You two are back at such a perfect time. You saved us again. Tell us, what do you want? We can give you anything, the Bull Demon King continued. Chapter 492 The Red Ribbon. Yes. Kiki is right, we really should repay you properly this time, Sun Wukong scratched his head and said. Don't talk about repaying us, it was just a small favor. Let's go inside first and talk about it then, Kiki slapped her forehead and said. Right. You must be very tired, go back and get some rest. I'll go prepare food and lodging for you. After saying that, Kiki left in a hurry. The Bull Demon King invited Yi-Shen and the other 2 back to the palace for a banquet. Lan Qi consciously walked behind them because she wasn't familiar with these people. When Yi-Shen, Sun Wukong, and Lan Qi arrived at the banquet prepared by the Bull Demon King, he was very polite and kept hosting them. This time, they could finally get drunk. Sun Wukong drank heartily, and as he drank cup after cup, he gradually felt himself getting drunk, so he began to get excited. He told everyone about some of their heroic deeds and strange encounters on their journey. Kiki listened most attentively. She had always wanted to travel the world like Yi-Shen and his friends, living an adventurous and fun life, but her father wouldn't allow it, so she had to give up the idea. The Bull Demon King and Yi-Shen chatted happily, while Sun Wukong, drunk, fell asleep on the table. The Bull Demon King brought up the Dragon Balls with Yi-Shen, saying, I saw you here a few days ago. You said you came to ask me for the Dragon Ball, and I gave it to you. I wonder how many Dragon Balls you've collected now. Yi-Shen was quite surprised to hear this. He didn't understand what the Bull Demon King was talking about. Was the Bull Demon King confused? When had he returned? Yi-Shen was completely puzzled, so he asked, I have a question. You just said I came back a few days ago? But I clearly didn't come back. I was out a few days ago. How could I have had time to come back? Could you have misremembered something? Yi-Shen asked a series of questions, leaving the Bull Demon King confused. He replied doubtfully, How could I misremember? You clearly took the Dragon Ball from me a few days ago. You said you needed it urgently, and I gave it to you immediately. Yi-Shen inwardly cried out in alarm. Something was wrong. Shen had already guessed what had happened. Someone must have impersonated him and tricked the Bull Demon King out of the Dragon Ball. The Bull Demon King saw Shen's strange expression and quickly realized what was going on. Was I tricked? Was that person an imposter? Oh dear, I was so foolish. How could I have believed him so easily? The Bull Demon King felt a pang of guilt. Shen could only comfort him, saying, "Don't be so self-conscious. This was something someone had planned for a long time. Even if they didn't use deception, they would have likely used force to seize the treasure. Luckily, they used the former." The Bull Demon King felt remorseful for his mistake. Shen was helpless. After spending a day as guests at the Bull Demon King's castle with Sun Wukong and Lanqi, they immediately set off to find the currently missing Dragon Balls. Shen didn't know which faction the person who stole the Dragon Balls belonged to, so he couldn't find any evidence from that angle. He had no choice but to continue using the old method of the Dragon Ball radar to locate the Dragon Balls. Thus, Shen, Sun Wukong, and Lanqi once again embarked on their journey to find the Dragon Balls. Meanwhile, in another place, there was a man named Colonel Hiruba who commanded a massive army, managing tens of thousands of people. Colonel Shiruba, having nothing better to do, selected a few skilled men from the training ground to spar with him. Colonel Shiruba believed that even a good sword needs regular sharpening to prevent it from rusting. Therefore, no matter how high his rank, Colonel Shiruba never forgot to hone his martial arts skills and maintain his level. The sparring began, with Colonel Shiruba making the first move. His men hesitated, afraid to use their full strength. Colonel Shiruba rebuked them. "What are you afraid of? Use your full strength. If you don't defeat or injure me today, it's your fault. Do you hear me?" The men answered in unison, "Yes." After Colonel Shiruba's words, the men became bolder, no longer afraid of injuring their colonel and facing punishment. The sparring gradually got on track, and Colonel Shiruba found his battlefield instincts. Colonel Shiruba fought with great intensity, his men no match for him. Even working together, they couldn't break through his defenses. Colonel Shiruba consistently defeated them easily, and his men grew increasingly frustrated, gradually losing their will to fight. Colonel Shiruba consistently routed his men within a few rounds. Feeling bored and realizing his men's inadequacy, Colonel Shiruba rebuked them, saying, "I see you're all living too comfortably now, with no battles to fight. Have you become too accustomed to this easy life and lost all ambition? If I find you showing no improvement again, I'll feed you all to the lions." Colonel Shiruba grew increasingly angry. Just after he finished reprimanding his men, he heard applause in the distance. Looking up, Colonel Shiruba saw an officer from the Red Ribbon Legion approaching him. He heard the officer say, "Colonel Shiruba truly lives up to his reputation. He's excellent at disciplining his men, and his training methods are unique. I've heard that Colonel Shiruba's army is like a ferocious beast, but they haven't had the chance to unleash their full potential." Colonel Shiruba raised an eyebrow and said, "What? Did your boss send you here to steal his skills?" The officer said with a smile. No, we're not here to steal your secrets." 577. "We're here to give you an opportunity to stretch your muscles and add some fun to your lives." Colonel Hiruba's interest was immediately piqued, and he quickly asked, "What opportunity?" An officer explained the purpose of their visit to Colonel Hiruba. "Have you ever heard of the Dragon Balls? Legend has it that if you collect all 7 Dragon Balls, you can summon Shenron. You can make a wish to Shenron, and whatever it is, Shenron can grant it. When we get all 7 Dragon Balls, won't the whole world be ours?" An officer spoke vividly, immediately seizing on Colonel Hiruba's ambition. Colonel Hiruba suddenly became interested in this matter. He desperately wanted to find the Dragon Balls, which played right into the Red Ribbon Army's hands. The Red Ribbon Army's supreme commander wanted to cooperate with Colonel Hiruba, so he sent his trusted confidant to persuade him. The confidant raved about the benefits of the Dragon Balls, trying his best to hook Colonel Hiruba. In reality, the supreme commander of the Red Ribbon Army simply wanted to find a free force to serve him. Once Colonel Hiruba found the Dragon Balls, the supreme commander was bound to break ties with him. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 493, Achilles' Heel. The Supreme Commander of the Red Ribbon Legion was merely seeking to reap the benefits. He had no genuine desire to cooperate with Colonel Shiruba, nor would he allow Colonel Shiruba to share in the spoils. His confidant invited Colonel Shiruba to the Legion's headquarters, where the leaders of the two factions met to discuss matters. The Supreme Commander of the Red Ribbon Legion feigned great politeness, inviting Colonel Shiruba to sit in the most honored seat, a facade merely a ploy to secure Colonel Shiruba's loyalty. Fine food and wine were served, and the Supreme Commander of the Red Ribbon Legion raised his glass first, approaching Colonel Shiruba to offer a toast. During their conversation, the two became sworn brothers, before finally returning to the main topic. The Supreme Commander of the Red Ribbon Legion addressed Colonel Shiruba. "Cheers to obtaining the 7 Dragon Balls." Colonel Silva raised his glass and said. "Cheers." Colonel Silva still had many questions, so he asked, "How are we supposed to find the 7 Dragon Balls?" "We don't know their whereabouts yet," the Supreme Commander replied. "There's a special tool for finding the Dragon Balls called the Dragon Ball Radar. I'll lend it to you when the time comes. 4 Dragon Balls are still missing. I found out the whereabouts of the other 3 and sent people out to search for them. The most important thing now is the remaining 4, Colonel Silva responded. "I see. Then let's act quickly. We can't let anyone get ahead of us, so give me the Dragon Ball Radar as soon as possible." The Supreme Commander's eyes darted around, and he quickly came up with a plan. "No rush. When we set off, I'll send some of my men to give you the equipment and have them assist you." The Supreme Commander of the Red Ribbon Legion was cunning. He didn't trust Colonel Hiruba's men to act alone and needed to send his own men with him to prevent Colonel Hiruba from embezzling the Dragon Balls. Colonel Hiruba, unaware of the Supreme Commander's ulterior motives, thanked him, saying, "Thank you for your kindness, Commander." The Supreme Commander secretly chuckled to himself. This Colonel Hiruba was truly naive and easily fooled. The Supreme Commander was calculating in his mind. Even if Colonel Hiruba refused, he had already prepared for the worst. If Colonel Hiruba refused, he would immediately send his army to surround and capture him. This was clearly a trap. No matter what Colonel Hiruba chose, he had already fallen into the Supreme Commander's snare. The worst-case scenario was that the Red Ribbon Army's Supreme Commander would threaten Colonel Hiruba's life, demanding that he find the remaining 4 Dragon Balls. Fortunately, things didn't turn out that way. Colonel Hiruba and the Red Ribbon Army's Supreme Commander reached a cooperation agreement. After the trap, a metaphor for a dangerous situation, the Supreme Commander sent men with Dragon Ball Radar to accompany Colonel Hiruba's men to find the remaining 4 Dragon Balls. Meanwhile, on Yishen's side, after learning that the Dragon Ball in the Bull Demon King's possession had been stolen, they quickly left the Bull Demon King's castle and embarked on another journey to find the Dragon Balls. According to Yishen's rough calculations, the spaceship they had spotted flying past a village earlier should be related to the stolen Dragon Ball. So Yishen, along with Sun Wukong and Lan Qi, headed in the direction the spaceship had left. This time, to prevent the clues from disappearing, they used the somersault cloud to travel the entire way, increasing their speed and saving time. Yishen and his companions, using the flying Nimbus, were faster than Suzuki's spaceship. They traveled relentlessly and eventually caught up with it. Suzuki had a criminal record and was definitely not an honest man. Yishen strongly suspected that Suzuki was the one who stole the Dragon Balls, so he had to find a way to infiltrate Suzuki's spaceship to investigate and, if it was true, retrieve the Dragon Balls. After discovering Suzuki's spaceship, Goku and Yishen followed behind it at roughly the same speed. To avoid being discovered by Suzuki, Yishen waited for a suitable opportunity to sneak inside. He quietly approached Suzuki's spaceship on the flying Nimbus, maintaining the same speed and distance at all times. Finally, Yishen found a suitable opportunity, leaping from the flying Nimbus to the spaceship's hatch. With great effort, he managed to open the hatch. After Yishen opened the spaceship's hatch, he took Sun Wukong and Lan Qi. The 3 of them then quietly slipped into the spaceship before Zachimeg noticed. Zachimeg, unaware of the impending danger, was still enjoying his comfortable life. Yishen, leading Sun Wukong and Lan Qi, cautiously navigated Zachimeg's spaceship. Unfamiliar with the area, they kept wandering around, nearly being discovered by Zachimeg's henchmen several times. Fortunately, they were agile and adept at hiding. Yishen decided to avoid alerting Zachimeg and go directly to his location. He aimed to exploit his weakness and force him to hand over the Dragon Balls. Wukong came up with a good idea. They secretly infiltrated the dormitories of Zachimeg's henchmen, stole several sets of their clothes, and changed into them, disguising themselves as Zachimeg's men. This would make finding them easier. After Yi-Shen and his companions changed their clothes, everything went smoothly. They easily found out where the mixed rice dish was located and successfully arrived outside. Several of the dish's henchmen were guarding the area, preventing anyone from approaching. Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong greeted the guards casually, pretending to be familiar with them. "Hey guys, we've got some good stuff here, wanna see?" one of the guards asked, glancing at them with obvious disdain. "What good stuff could you possibly have?" Sun Wukong casually pulled something out of his pocket and showed it to them. "This is it, see for yourself." Sun Wukong's half-hidden appearance piqued the interest of the group, who crowded around to watch. Seeing his opportunity, Yi-Shen quickly dispatched them all without a sound. After dealing with them, Yi-Shen knocked on the door of Zehufen's room. Zehufen, without hesitation, opened the door. Yi-Shen waited for Zehufen to open the door, believing that everything would then become clear. Zehufen muttered, "Who's knocking? Don't they know I'm resting? I'll see which brat is knocking. I'll teach them a lesson." Zehufen grumbled as he walked to the door, then angrily opened it. Upon opening the door, he saw no one. Zehufen became even angrier, cursing under his breath. Chapter 494 Life-Saving Talisman. "Who's so bored? Daring to joke with me? If I catch you, I'll skin you alive." Finding no one around, Zehufen turned to close the door and go inside. But just as Zehufen thought everything was alright, Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong quickly moved behind him, pinning him down on either side, while Lanky swiftly taped Zehufen's mouth shut. Zehufen didn't even have time to scream for help. He didn't even have time to see who was there before a sack was placed over his head. Zehufen couldn't resist, and he couldn't scream either. He didn't know who these people were or how they got into the spaceship. Sun Wukong and Yi-Shen dragged Zehufen into the room, and then Lanky locked the door from the inside, preventing anyone from entering. Sun Wukong kicked Zehufen, and he lost his balance and fell to his knees with a thud. Zehufen cried out in pain. "Hey, don't push your luck. I'm telling you, I won't let you get away with this." Yi-Shen didn't want to waste words with Zehufen and went straight to the point, speaking harshly to him. "Hand over the Dragon Balls now. How dare you cheat me out of the Dragon Balls? You've got a death wish." Zehufen recognized the voice and, after a moment's thought, remembered it was Yi-Shen's voice. He cursed. "So it's you bunch of bastards. How dare you come to my territory and cause trouble?" Before Zehufen could finish speaking, Sun Wukong kicked him again, causing Zehufen to scream in pain. Sun Wukong said coldly, "You'd better watch your mouth. You need to understand your situation." "Who's going to suffer?" After Sun Wukong finished speaking, Zehufen fell silent. He was now like a fish on a chopping board, completely at their mercy. Yi-Shen said again, "Where are the things?" "Hand them over," Zehufen replied meekly. "What you wanted is in my safe," Sun Wukong asked fiercely. "Quickly, where's it?" "In the corner," Zehufen replied vaguely, which immediately angered Sun Wukong. He slapped Zehufen's head and said impatiently, "Be specific." "Stop dawdling," Zehufen said pitifully. In the corner by the window, Yi-Shen looked around and found a safe near the window. Yi-Shen asked simply, "The password?" "The password is my fingerprint." Sun Wukong rolled his eyes and released Zehufen's left hand. No, it's the right hand." Zehufen seemed to cooperate, but he was secretly plotting something else. Sun Wukong switched Zehufen's right hand, and Zehufen's right hand was released. Wukong pushed Zehufen closer to the safe. When they reached the safe, Sun Wukong stopped and pressed Zehufen down. "Open the box," Yi-Shen said. Mixed Rice reached out and fumbled around for a while, unable to find the fingerprint scanner. Sun Wukong grew impatient and said urgently, "What are you touching? Hurry up and open it. If you keep dawdling, we'll beat you up." Mixed Rice feigned great grievance and said, "You've covered me up, I can't see it." Mixed Rice now looked particularly honest, its purpose being to deceive Yi-Shen and Sun Wukong. Yi-Shen reached out to remove the bag from Mixed Rice's head, but Lanky, a little worried, voiced his thoughts, "Let's keep him covered up. Taking it off isn't safe. This guy is cunning, I'm afraid he might be up to something." As it turned out, Lanky's words came true. Sun Wukong didn't think much of it, he was very confident, believing that once Zehufen was in their hands, what tricks could he possibly pull under their noses? Come to think of it, it's Sun Wukong and the others' fault for being too confident. Otherwise, what happened later wouldn't have occurred, Sun Wukong advised Lan Qi. It's alright. With the three of us watching him, he can't possibly run away. Although he couldn't escape, Lan Qi still felt something was off, a sense of foreboding creeping into his heart. Yi Shen removed the sack, and Sun Wukong and Yi Shen stood on either side of Zhaofeng, keeping a close eye on him to prevent any other tricks. Under the watchful eyes of Yi Shen, Sun Wukong, and Lan Qi, Zhaofeng obediently opened the box, and the two Dragon Balls immediately appeared. When Yi Shen and the others saw the two spirit orbs, they were stunned. How could there be two Dragon Balls here? Yi Shen took out the one he'd seen before and realized it was fake. At this moment, the three of them were completely absorbed by the two orbs, forgetting about Zhaofeng's presence. Taking advantage of this brief moment of distraction, Zhaofeng quickly grabbed the ship's remote control. This remote control was crucial. It controlled the entire ship's operation. By the time Yi Shen and the others realized Zhaofeng's actions, it was too late. Zhaofeng already had the remote control. Zhaofeng suddenly became arrogant, his eyes completely changing. Yi Shen quickly grabbed the spirit orb, and the next second, Zhaofeng pressed the ship's automatic crash button on the remote control. The ship immediately lost control. Yi Shen and the others felt the ship lose stability. The propulsion system had stopped, and the ship's speed decreased drastically, steadily declining. Even standing still was extremely difficult. Yi Shen had to see them cling to the ship's anchor points to stabilize themselves. Meanwhile, Zhaofeng was already equipped with landing gear and ready to abandon the spaceship at any moment. But Yi Shen and his companions were in a much worse situation. They had to react as quickly as possible in that short time. Zhaofeng jumped off the spaceship and deployed his parachute just before it reached the ground, successfully escaping. Yi Shen and his two companions faced a much more critical situation. They needed to leave the spaceship immediately, but there was no landing device. They couldn't worry about that now. The spaceship was about to crash. But before it could crash, the spaceship self-destructed. Without thinking, Yi Shen jumped out of the hatch with Sun Wukong and Lan Qi. The ship self-destructed, and Yi Shen was injured in the process. The moment of the explosion was incredibly dangerous. Sun Wukong and Lan Qi were completely terrified. Yi Shen held on to Lan Qi and Sun Wukong tightly, chanting an incantation as he summoned the somersault cloud. Just as the attack was about to launch, the somersault cloud appeared in time, catching the three of them from below. After they were safe, Yi Shen lost consciousness. Yi Shen was seriously injured this time. In the end, it was Sun Wukong who safely brought Yi Shen and Qi to the ground and took Yi Shen back to recuperate. Seeing how badly Yi Shen was injured, Sun Wukong immediately fell unconscious, and he was extremely anxious. He didn't know what to do for a moment. Concern can cloud judgment, and perhaps Sun Wukong's excessive worry for Yi Shen's safety caused him to become flustered and disoriented for a short time. Fortunately, Lan Qi was there. Lan Qi suggested taking Yi Shen back to Master Roshi for treatment. After all, Master Roshi had lived for so long and knew a great deal, including many strange and wonderful things. Master Roshi was currently Yi Shen's greatest lifeline. Chapter 495 Numerous Difficulties. So, on Lan Qi's advice, Goku took Leaf Blade back to Master Roshi's house. Goku rode his flying Nimbus at breakneck speed, not daring to waste a second, and rushed straight into Master Roshi's house. Master Roshi was sitting at home when he saw Goku rush in like a madman, disturbing his peace. Just as he was about to yell, he saw Leaf Blade lying unconscious on Goku's back. Master Roshi was extremely surprised. How could Leaf Blade be in such a state? He panicked immediately. Master Roshi went over and asked Goku, what happened? How did he get so badly injured? Put him down quickly. Let me check his injuries. Master Roshi was very anxious. After putting Leaf Blade down, he saw Goku panting heavily, covered in sweat, and told him to rest. Goku refused, insisting on watching over Leaf Blade's condition. Master Roshi carefully examined Yi Shen's body. Although Yi Shen had no external injuries, judging from his current condition, he must have suffered severe internal injuries. This made the situation much more serious. Master Roshi sighed. Goku, sensing the danger, asked, how is he? Master Roshi replied, his condition is very bad. He has suffered severe internal injuries and needs treatment and a long period of rest. Goku anxiously pressed for more information. How should he be treated? Don't worry about that, Master Roshi said. I have excellent medicinal herbs here. Don't worry about the rest either, he can rest here, Master Roshi's words gave Goku hope, and he felt much relieved. Goku solemnly said to Master Roshi, "I'm entrusting everything to you. Please, I must heal him. Please." Goku was truly Yushin's good friend and genuinely worried about him. This was the first time he had humbly asked someone for help. Master Roshi patted Goku's shoulder and said, "Don't worry, I'll take care of everything." The most important thing next was to heal Yushin's injuries, and all of this depended on Master Roshi. Goku would assist Master Roshi, while Lanki would take care of Yushin. After a week of careful treatment by Master Roshi, Yushin's injuries were no longer a problem, and he woke up. Afterwards, Yushin needed to rest and recuperate, which resulted in a period of considerable free time for him. However, Yushin wasn't idle. He used this time to learn many new things. He almost finished reading Master Roshi's collection of books and learned many things he hadn't mastered before. Master Roshi wanted to make Yushin stronger, so he prepared nourishing medicinal soups for him every day and taught him more skills. His progress was much greater than before. Yushin rested for about a month and spent over a month working for Master Roshi. His daily routine consisted of taking medicine, reading books, and learning new skills. Yushin's rapid progress was entirely due to his intelligence and talent, which were beyond the reach of ordinary people. Whenever Yushin had free time, Master Roshi would spar with him, and it was during these exchanges that Master Roshi taught Yushin very practical skills. Thanks to this period of leisure, Yushin learned many new skills, and Master Roshi's training of him greatly intensified. Yushin was very dedicated to this process, and after the recovery period, he could clearly feel the improvement in his training, a result that greatly satisfied him. Although Yushin was injured because of the Dragon Ball incident, it could be considered a blessing in disguise, as it gave him this period of leisure. When Yushin had free time, he often recalled the past. From when he first met Goku until now, Yushin had experienced many things, and among these events, the ones that had the greatest impact on him seemed vividly clear in his mind. When Yushin participated in the World Martial Arts Tournament, Master Roshi and Master Roshi subjected him to rigorous training and tests. Yushin ultimately lived up to expectations, successfully winning the championship. Later, Yushin and Goku defeated the Red Ribbon Army, resolving the crisis posed by the Ox King, a feat of the three of them holding their own against overwhelming odds. And then there was their first encounter with Shenron, when Lapis successfully summoned Shenron after collecting all 7 Dragon Balls. Yushin, along with Oolong, successfully thwarted Lapis's plan, preventing him from achieving his ambition of conquering the world. Recalling these experiences fills Yushin with excitement. His rich experiences constantly drive his progress. However, Yushin doesn't feel he can relax now. He still needs to continuously undergo trials, grow stronger through hardship, and constantly become more powerful. Perhaps this is the stubbornness deep within Yushin's bones. Now that Yushin's injuries have fully healed, he should leave with Goku and Slain, and say goodbye to Master Roshi. The remaining Dragon Ball missions await them. On this day, Yushin, Goku, and Lanki decided to leave and say goodbye to Master Roshi. Yushin said gently, "We're leaving. Take good care of yourself. We'll come back to see you soon." Master Roshi was reluctant to part and sighed sadly. "Be careful out there. Don't come back injured like this time." "Okay, that's enough. Go now." With that, Master Roshi turned away, his expression extremely sad, almost bursting into tears in front of Yushin and the others. Not wanting them to see him like this, he could only secretly wipe his tears. Yushin and Goku noticed, but they couldn't bear to hit Master Roshi, so they said, "We'll be going now. Take good care of yourself. Go, finish your mission soon." This was one of Master Roshi's hopes for Yushin and the others, but his greatest hope was that they would all be well. Yushin and Sun Wukong, along with Lanki, left. They didn't dare look back, their departure seemingly carefree. Master Roshi watched from behind as their figures gradually disappeared until they were too small to see. Yushin and his companions resumed their journey. Sun Wukong, carrying the Dragon Ball radar, searched for the Dragon Balls. According to the radar's detection, one Dragon Ball was nearby. It was already winter, with heavy snow falling and the ground covered in a thick layer of white, crunching underfoot. Such harsh weather was extremely difficult for Yushin and his companions in their search for the Dragon Balls. Although the Dragon Ball radar could detect the Dragon Ball's location, it could only provide a general area. Once within the designated area, Yushin and his companions would have to spend time searching slowly. What was already a difficult task was now made even more challenging by the heavy snow. Yi-Shen and his companions had to clear the snow from the ground to better search for the Dragon Balls. They headed in the direction shown on the Dragon Ball radar and finally arrived within the designated area. This area is about a mile in radius, which is quite a large area. Yi-Shen and his team split up and searched from different directions, which would make the search faster. Chapter 496 Vigilance. Unbeknownst to Yi-Shen and his companions, another group was also searching for the Dragon Balls in this area. That group had also found their way here using the Dragon Ball radar. They had arrived before Yi-Shen and his group, but the harsh weather and thick snow made their search extremely difficult. Furthermore, they lacked experience compared to Yi-Shen and his team. This group was actually members of the Red Ribbon Army, mixed in with Colonel Hiruba's men, and ordered by their commander to search for the Dragon Balls. Although Yi-Shen and his group arrived later, they found the Dragon Balls before them. Just as they were about to leave with the Dragon Balls, they encountered the Red Ribbon Army. The Red Ribbon Army quickly recognized Yi-Shen, Goku, and Lan Ki. Upon seeing the Dragon Balls in Yi-Shen's hands, the Red Ribbon Army rushed forward, eager to seize them for reward and glory. They were determined not to let Yi-Shen and his group leave so easily. Yi-Shen and his companions had to break through, but to protect Sun Wukong and Ki, Yi-Shen decided to cover for them, escorting them away from the Red Ribbon Army's encirclement. Ultimately, Yi-Shen successfully escorted Sun Wukong and Lan Ki out of the encirclement and found a way out. However, because Yi-Shen possessed the Dragon Ball, the Red Ribbon Army's target was him. The Red Ribbon Army relentlessly pursued Yi-Shen, making his progress difficult and exhausting in the snow. Eventually, Yi-Shen was chased to a hillside. Although the hillside wasn't steep, its slope was very long, rolling down it would lead nowhere. With nowhere else to go, and to prevent the Red Ribbon Army from obtaining the Dragon Ball, Yi-Shen made a desperate decision: he would roll down the slope. This required immense courage. The Red Ribbon Army pressed closer, but Yi-Shen closed his eyes and rolled down the slope with a Dragon Ball in his arms. During the descent, his head struck a rock, and he lost consciousness. The Red Ribbon Army, seeing Yi-Shen roll down right before their eyes, were helpless. They dared not do the same. While they desired the Dragon Ball, they weren't willing to risk their lives. Finally, the Red Ribbon Army had to give up, returning in defeat. Yi-Shen rolled for a long time on the slope, finally reaching the foot of the mountain. He landed unconscious in the snow, his condition dire. If he didn't wake up quickly, he might freeze to death in the harsh, snowy weather. Fortunately, someone happened to be passing by and rescued him. The person who saved Yi-Shen was a little girl named Suen Yuo. Suen Yuo had gone out hunting, and finding food was especially difficult in winter. This time, she had ventured a little further than usual before she found Yi-Shen lying unconscious in the snow. When Suen Yuo first saw Yi-Shen, she was startled, thinking it was a corpse and that he was dead. However, the kind-hearted girl overcame her fear and boldly approached Yi-Shen, reaching out to check his breath. Thankfully, it was a false alarm. The person lying there was still alive, just unconscious. The little girl couldn't bear to see Yi-Shen lying there in the snow. Even if he wasn't dead now, he would soon freeze to death. The little girl, Suen Yuo, decided to take Yi-Shen back to her home, hoping to save his life. However, Suen Yuo couldn't carry Yi-Shen on her back, so she had to drag him home. Once home, Suen Yuo put Yi-Shen on the bed, covered him with a blanket, and lit a brazier in the room. The temperature gradually rose, and the room became warm. Suen Yuo then left the room to prepare hot water and food for Yi-Shen. Yi-Shen had already been rescued. The Red Ribbon Army was too late. After seeing Yi-Shen walk down the slope, they initially planned to give up, but on their way out, they discovered a path leading to the bottom of the mountain. The Red Ribbon Army didn't give up and followed the path to the foot of the mountain. They searched everywhere and finally found the spot where Yi-Shen had been lying. The Red Ribbon Army didn't notice anything unusual because the heavy snow had covered the spot where Yi-Shen had been lying, making it as flat as the surrounding landscape, impossible to spot. The Red Ribbon Legion couldn't find Yi-Shen, so they had to leave. They had wasted a lot of time, assuming Yi-Shen had already left. But Yi-Shen was now in a warm room. Although still dazed, his body was slowly warming up, and he soon woke up. Yi-Shen woke up in an unfamiliar room, his first reaction being extreme alertness. He warily looked around, finding no one, only a brazier and some simple furniture. Yi-Shen's body was still a little uncomfortable from just waking up. He walked to the brazier, squatted down to warm himself, and placed his hands on the fire, feeling the warmth. Yi-Shen knew someone must have saved him, otherwise, why would he be here? He wanted to know who had saved him, and he wanted to thank them properly. Just as Yi-Shen was thinking this, a little girl named Suen Yuo entered, carrying hot water and a basin of boiling water. Yi-Shen turned around and saw it was the little girl. Yi-Shen just looked at the little girl without speaking, or perhaps he was too shy to speak. The little girl Suen Yuo was very happy to see Yi-Shen awake and able to warm himself by the fire, and said, "You're awake. I didn't expect you to wake up so quickly. Why don't you lie down and rest a bit more? You're injured, so it's best not to move around too much." The little girl was very enthusiastic, and Yi-Shen was a little taken aback. The first person Yi-Shen saw when he woke up was the little girl, Suen Yuo. When Suen Yuo came in, she was carrying many things, all prepared for Yi-Shen. The little girl, Suen Yuo, had already greeted Yi-Shen, and out of politeness, Yi-Shen had to respond. So, Yi-Shen asked a question. "Did you save me?" The little girl blinked and said in a lively tone. "Yes, yesterday I went hunting and found you lying on the snow. I thought you were dead, but I didn't expect you to still be alive, so I brought you back." Yi-Shen was very grateful to this little girl, so he said very sincerely, "Thank you so much for saving me. I will definitely repay you in the future." The little girl, Suen Yuo, was embarrassed by Yi-Shen's words, scratched her head shyly, and then said, Chapter 497 Original Intention. "It's nothing, counting food is something I should do. You don't need to repay me. Now you need to rest. Here, there's some food and drinks, all hot. Eat it while it's hot." The little girl, Suen Yuo, handed the food to Yi-Shen. Yi-Shen took it and said, "Thank you, then eat slowly, I'll go out first." After Suen Yuo finished speaking, she turned and left, leaving Yi-Shen alone in the room. Yi-Shen was actually quite hungry, having not eaten for almost a day. After taking the food, Yi-Shen started eating. Yi-Shen quickly finished eating. After finishing, Yi-Shen felt unsure where to put the plate, so he decided to take it to the kitchen to wash. Yi-Shen went out to find the kitchen. Yi-Shen found the kitchen, went inside, and saw a middle-aged woman. Yi-Shen didn't know how to greet her and felt a little embarrassed, so he stood there awkwardly. This middle-aged woman was Suen Yuo's mother. Suen Yuo's mother was very kind and friendly, and took the initiative to greet Yi-Shen. "Have you finished eating? Put a bowl there, you can go back and rest. I'll wash it." Yi-Shen felt that the mother and daughter were both very kind-hearted people. He felt not only physically warmed, but also emotionally warmed. Yi-Shen didn't know what to say, so he could only say thank you. After saying that, Yi-Shen awkwardly left the kitchen. Yi-Shen returned to his room to rest. After a while, he heard laughter outside. Yi-Shen recognized Suen Yuo's voice. Suen Yuo said happily, Mom, I caught a really big rabbit today. We'll have meat to eat today." Catching a rabbit in such cold and harsh weather must be a very hard task, but Suen Yuo was laughing happily. Suen Yuo was such a simple and good child, taking on the household chores willingly. Suen Yuo's mother heard Suen Yuo's voice and went out, seeing the large rabbit Suen Yuo was carrying. It was fluffy and very plump. Mother and daughter were very happy. Suen Yuo's mother praised Suen Yuo, "My Yuo is so great. Mom is so happy for you." The scene was particularly heartwarming, adding a touch of sunshine to the cold weather. Hearing their voices, Yi-Shen went out to check on them. He opened the door, and a gust of cold wind immediately hit him. The creaking of the door attracted the attention of Suen Yuo and her mother. They turned around and saw Yi-Shen standing in the doorway. Suen Yuo innocently held up the rabbit she was holding to show Yi-Shen, saying, "Look, a big rabbit. We're having rabbit tonight." Yi-Shen walked down the steps to Suen Yuo's side and touched the rabbit in her hand. He asked, "Hunting in this weather must be difficult. How did you manage all by yourself?" Suen Yuo proudly replied, "I've been hunting since I was little. My father taught me this skill. I've been hunting for many years. Don't underestimate me just because I'm young, you might not be as good as me." Suen Yuo was very confident, her face beaming with a defiant smile. Yi-Shen also wanted to experience hunting with Suen Yuo, so he said, "I'll go hunting with you tomorrow. I can help you, aren't you injured?" "How can you go hunting?" Suen Yuo asked in surprise. "It's alright, I'm all better now, nothing serious. It's good to get some exercise." Hearing Yi-Shen say that, Suen Yuo felt relieved. As dusk fell, Suen Yuo's mother went to prepare dinner. She took the rabbit to the kitchen to cook, and Suen Yuo and Yan went to help. Yi Shen couldn't just stand there and wait to eat for free, so he also went to the kitchen to help. Although he couldn't really help much, the three of them finished preparing dinner in no time. Suen Yuo's mother was a very good cook, and the rabbit was already on a plate, transformed into a fragrant dish. Dinner began, and Yi Shen sat down at the table with Suen Yuo and her mother. Because they weren't familiar with each other, Suen Yuo and her mother asked Yi Shen many questions. From his name, age, where he came from, to where he was going, they asked him many questions. Suen Yuo was most curious about how Yi Shen got to this place. How did you get here? You were injured when I saw you. Yi Shen thought Suen Yuo and her mother were good people and decided to tell them the truth. To be honest, I came here to find something to make a Dragon Ball, a round, glowing bead. I don't know if you've ever seen one. Suen Yuo didn't know what Yi Shen was talking about, but she seemed to remember something. Suen Yuo analyzed it in her mind. Yi Shen came here to find something, and she had seen a group of people searching for something nearby while hunting earlier that day. Suen Yuo suspected that Yi Shen was with this group. Suen Yuo asked directly, "Are you with that group of people, the ones who wear red ribbons?" Yi Shen answered decisively. "No, I'm not with them." Suen Yuo was relieved. Yi Shen wasn't a bad person. "Oh, I see. Then what do you need that thing called a Dragon Ball for? Is it important?" Suen Yuo asked, getting to the point. Yi Shen answered carefully. "The Dragon Balls are magical treasures. There are 7 in total. If you find all 7, you can summon Shenron, who can grant you one wish, whatever it may be. Because of this, many people in the world covet the Dragon Balls, wanting to obtain them to satisfy their ugly, selfish desires." Suen Yuo listened attentively and asked a question. "Aren't you also searching for the Dragon Balls? How are you different from them? What are you looking for the Dragon Balls for?" Suen Yuo's question was particularly good. Yi Shen ate a piece of rabbit meat, then put down his chopsticks and answered Suen Yuo. "I'm looking for the Dragon Balls to stop those people from getting them, to stop their actions, and to maintain the normalcy of this world. Even if we find all 7 Dragon Balls, we won't summon Shenron. Even if we're forced to summon Shenron, we won't make any selfish wishes." This was Yi Shen's answer and his original intention. Suen Yuo believed Yi Shen was a good person and felt even more at ease. "So, are those people looking for the same thing as you?" "Yes, they're also looking for the Dragon Balls. I clashed with them, and I fell because of them." Suen Yuo gritted her teeth, a piece of meat still in her mouth, her cheeks puffed out, looking particularly cute. "This group of people is too wicked," Yi Shen added. "You'd better not provoke them. They're ruthless and commit all sorts of evil deeds. Their search for the Dragon Balls is solely for their selfish desires." Suen Yuo learned about the Red Ribbon Army and Yi Shen's own purpose in searching for the Dragon Balls from Yi Shen. The room was warm, and with a sumptuous meal, everyone was immersed in the atmosphere, unaware of the approaching danger outside. The Red Ribbon Army that Suen Yuo had seen during the day hadn't left. Unable to survive in such harsh weather, unable to find food, and freezing cold, they had stumbled upon a small village nearby. Chapter 498 Bandits. So this group of ruthless bandits decided to rob the village in search of food. Not long after, Yi Shen and his mother, Suen Yuo, heard cries of burning, killing, and looting outside. Yi Shen was surprised. He opened the door to see what was happening, shielding Suen Yuo and her daughter behind him. Yi Shen instructed them, "You stay inside and don't come out. I'll go check." After saying this, Yi Shen closed the door and saw a chaotic scene outside. The Red Ribbon Army was rampaging through the village, entering every house to rob them. If the villagers tried to stop them, they would attack them. Yi Shen saw a member of the Red Ribbon Army kill a villager. Unable to bear it any longer, Yi Shen decided to intervene. When the Red Ribbon Army saw that it was Yi Shen, the man they were looking for, in the village, they became extremely arrogant, committing such a vicious act right in front of him. Yi Shen joined the battle, and the Red Ribbon Legion members were no match for him, quickly being defeated. Seeing the situation turning against them, the Legion's officer, to save his own life, grabbed an old man and threatened him. Nuo and her mother heard the fighting outside subside and realized Yi Shen had brought the situation under control. Nuo secretly opened the door and ran behind Yi Shen. She was startled to see the chaotic scene on the ground, with several corpses scattered around. Some of the bodies belonged to villagers, while others were unfamiliar members of the Red Ribbon Legion. And Yuo whispered to Yishen from behind, "The person they captured is our village chief," Yishen told the officer. "Release this old man," the officer said rudely. "What? You want me to release him and I'll release him? I won't." The officer tightened his grip on the old man, even holding a knife to his neck. The scene became very tense. The old man was terrified, but also bravely said to Yishen, "Young hero, you don't need to worry about this old man. I've lived long enough. What they do to me doesn't matter. I hope you can help me protect my villagers. Don't let these people go." The village chief's words moved the villagers present. They refused to let the army take the village chief hostage, demanding that Yishen let them leave. Yishen saw that the officer's face was sinister. He was clearly not a good person and might very well kill the village chief. Yishen was in a dilemma. On one hand, he wanted to release these people. On the other hand, he didn't want the village chief to be harmed. The Red Ribbon Legion held the old village chief hostage, demanding Yishen release them or they would kill him. Yishen, left with no other option, had to compromise to ensure the chief's safety. The village chief was the most respected figure in the village, and the villagers shared deep bonds. When the chief was captured by the Red Ribbon Legion, the villagers were extremely anxious and begged Yishen to help them rescue him. Suen Yuo remembered how the chief used to play with her and cheer her up when she was little. Whenever Suen Yuo was unhappy, the chief would take her to the village store to buy her treats. Now that the chief had been captured by the Red Ribbon Legion, Suen Yuo was extremely worried. Her eyes filled with sorrow as she pleaded with Yishen, "Brother Yishen, the chief is like my grandfather. He's been so good to me. Can you please go and rescue him? Those people look so evil. I don't know how they'll treat a chief. I don't know if Grandpa Chief will come back alive." Suen Yuo was almost in tears as she spoke. Yishen wasn't a cold-hearted person, and besides, Suen Yuo had saved his life. Her whole family had helped him, and even just to repay Suen Yuo, Yishen couldn't refuse her request. Yishen nodded, patted Suen Yuo's head, and said to her, "Don't cry, brother will go and help you bring Grandpa Village Chief back." Suen Yuo raised her big, watery eyes, wanting a positive answer. "Really?" Yishen nodded again. "Really?" Suen Yuo smiled through her tears, reached out and hugged Yishen, happily thanking him. "Thank you, brother Yishen." Time could not be wasted any longer. To keep his promise to Suen Yuo, Yishen had to set off as soon as possible to find the Red Ribbon Legion's headquarters in this region. Yishen set off that very night. Suen Yuo had never witnessed Yishen's skills and was worried that this kind-hearted brother might be in danger. Although she couldn't help much, Suen Yuo could prepare many things for Yishen. Suen Yuo prepared a large bag of food and warm clothing for Yishen, as well as some tools for traveling in the snow. Yishen set off with the things Suen Yuo had prepared for him. To save time, Yishen summoned his somersault cloud and rode it to find the Red Ribbon Legion's headquarters. Standing high, one can see far. With the help of the somersault cloud, the search became much easier. However, the temperature was even lower at high altitudes, and it was particularly cold sitting on the somersault cloud. Yishen took out all the warm clothes Suen Yuo had given him and put them on. Yishen didn't dare to make the somersault cloud too fast. The howling wind roared in his ears, and Yishen felt his body was about to be stiffened by the cold wind. Following the map's directions, Yishen arrived above the area where the Red Ribbon Legion was located. Yishen lowered the somersault cloud's altitude and looked down carefully. He discovered that the Red Ribbon Legion's headquarters was located on a high mountain. The headquarters was built on a high mountain, easy to defend and difficult to attack, but Yishen didn't need to attack from the bottom of the mountain. This time, using the somersault cloud, he could parachute in unnoticed and wouldn't attract the Red Ribbon Legion's attention. Yishen slowly descended on the somersault cloud to a secluded corner of the Red Ribbon Legion's headquarters. No one noticed Yishen's infiltration, and Yishen wondered where the village chief was being held. Yishen's attire would easily reveal his outsider status. To avoid alerting the enemy and to remain more concealed, Yishen found the soldiers' quarters and entered a room. Once inside, he retrieved a Red Ribbon Legion uniform from the wardrobe and dressed it according to his memory of how it was worn. Now, Yishen looked exactly like a Red Ribbon Legion soldier. No one should be able to recognize him unless they encountered a soldier who recognized his face. Even with this layer of protection, Yishen dared not act rashly. He was cautious, advancing step by step with careful, Deliberate movement. Seeing a group of soldiers chatting idly, Yi-Shen approached and eavesdropped. He overheard them discussing the village chief. He heard a deep, resonant voice say, "Last night our boss brought back an old man who's lost all his teeth. I don't know what he's thinking, why he brought back a useless old man? This old man isn't anything special. Yet he's locked up in the most heavily guarded spot," another voice said. Chapter 499 The second level of prison. Are you talking about Masruda? Isn't that the Legion's most secure prison? Is it really worth imprisoning an old man there? I think things are definitely not simple. That place is terrifying. It not only imprisons many once powerful demons, but also some soldiers who have made mistakes, and even the guards there are incredibly powerful and frightening. Yi-Shen, having overheard the village chief's whereabouts from the outside, knew it was fraught with danger. He just needed to know exactly where Masruda was. Yi-Shen asked curiously, "Where is that tower? I've never seen it before." Upon hearing this, everyone turned to look at Yi-Shen, their eyes filled with suspicion. Yi-Shen chuckled awkwardly. "I'm new here, only been here a few days. There are so many places I haven't been to, so I don't know what that tower you're talking about is or where it is," Yi-Shen explained. The group of soldiers believed him, genuinely thinking he was a new recruit. Seeing his small stature and youthful face, they assumed he was just a child and believed him. An older soldier told Yi-Shen, "Oh, you're new here. No wonder you don't know where it is. It's alright, I'll tell you. That Masru Tower is on the back mountain of headquarters. It's heavily guarded, no one dares approach. Anyone who intrudes without permission will be killed on sight. That's an order from the commander." Yi-Shen successfully gleaned the information from others. Feigning surprise, he lingered there for a while, already planning how to get to the back mountain. Taking advantage of the crowd, Yi-Shen quietly left. He continued to wander around the Red Ribbon Legion's headquarters, actively seeking out tasks to avoid suspicion. He eventually found a food delivery mission, to deliver food to those imprisoned in the Masruda at the back of the mountain. Yi-Shen was overjoyed. This was essentially a free opportunity to openly approach the back mountain, making his actions much easier. Yi-Shen remained outwardly calm and collected, accepting the mission and heading to the back mountain. Upon arriving at a back mountain, the guards saw him, but recognizing him, they stopped him and questioned him. "Who are you? You can't go in here," the guards were menacing. Yi-Shen showed them the food he was carrying and explained, "I'm here to deliver food." They remained wary and suspicious. Delivering food? Why is it a different person? It used to be a different person delivering food. Why is it different today? That person made a mistake in the kitchen, and the commander punished him by making him clean. So today, I was temporarily called to deliver the food, which is why you haven't seen me before, Yi-Shen replied. The guards accepted the food Yi-Shen brought with suspicion. Yi-Shen pretended to continue forward, wanting to enter the forbidden area behind the mountain. However, Yi-Shen was stopped. The guard said, "You can go back now. Your task is complete. Leave the rest to us." This was troublesome for Yi-Shen. They had ruined the excuse he had worked so hard to come by, and Yi-Shen couldn't enter for the time being. Yi-Shen pretended to leave, and then, seeing that the guard's vigilance had relaxed, he turned back and easily took out the guards at the entrance. Yi-Shen's actions went unnoticed by the others. After assessing his surroundings, Yi-Shen quickly entered Masru Tower. Masru Tower was very tall, with several floors. Although Yi-Shen knew that the village chief was inside. Such a large tower, and not knowing his exact location, made it uncertain how long it would take to find him. Yi-Shen could only search room by room, floor by floor. To avoid suspicion, he brought food, just in case, and also to have an excuse. After searching the first floor without finding the village chief or encountering any obstacles, Yi-Shen continued to the second floor. Upon entering the second floor, he encountered several strong soldiers wrestling. When they saw Yi-Shen, they were initially surprised, but then, seeing that he was just a child in a loosely worn uniform, they assumed he was a newly arrived young soldier who had gotten lost. These soldiers didn't care, they always enjoyed teasing new recruits. They said slowly, "Where did this little kid come from? Don't you know you can't come in here? We'll go tell our officer right away, and he'll teach you a lesson." It's not much of a feat for a few burly men to bully a little kid, but this time Yi-Shen genuinely pretended to be a child and said, "I'm here to deliver food. It's my first time here, and I don't know how to get around. I'm lost. Please don't tell the officer, brothers. I have some good food here, please give it all to you. Hearing there was good food, the burly men decided to take advantage of Yi-Shen. Yi-Shen presented the food to them and opened the lunchbox. The burly men exclaimed happily, "There's a big chicken today." "Wow, so much?" "Thank you, little brother," Yi-Shen said. You're welcome, you're welcome. "Eat up," one of them said warily. "You need to leave quickly." "Come on, I'll take you away." That man tried to forcibly take Yi-Shen away. Yi-Shen knew he couldn't avoid it, so he pretended to comply and followed the man. Once Yi-Shen and his figure disappeared from the side of those gluttons, Yi-Shen, in a corner where no one could see him, dealt with a man, saving himself a lot of trouble. After dealing with a man, Yi-Shen turned around to finish off the remaining men. Seeing him return, they were curious why he had come back, especially since their friend was nowhere to be seen. One of them asked in confusion, "Why are you back? Where is he?" Yi-Shen feigned panic. "That big brother, he really felt unwell and fainted. You should go check on him." The men were stunned. How could they possibly faint? But they were still worried about him, so they quickly ran to check. While they were gone, Yi-Shen secretly sneaked into the second-floor prison. He was looking for the village chief's location. After searching the second floor without finding him, Yi-Shen guessed a village chief was locked up upstairs. Yi-Shen prepared to leave the second floor and head to the third floor. Just as he started walking up the stairs, the men turned back, saw him heading upwards, and immediately called out to him. "What are you doing? Why are you going up there? Come down right now, that's not a place for you." Yi-Shen stood still and turned to look at the group of people. The person who had been knocked unconscious by Yi-Shen earlier slowly woke up. He opened his eyes and saw Yi-Shen. The person was startled and exclaimed. Chapter 500 Darts. "That's the guy. He knocked me out. He's incredibly strong. Take care of him." The man's friends exchanged disbelief, then reiterated, "I'm telling the truth. Grab him now. He's definitely here for another purpose." The men believed him and charged towards Yi-Shen. Several burly men were chasing after a small child like Yi-Shen. Seeing them coming, Yi-Shen ran towards the third floor, and a chase ensued. Yi-Shen was relentlessly pursued. They surrounded him from different directions. Finally, he was surrounded, but Yi-Shen wasn't worried. These men were no match for him. After surrounding Yi-Shen, they assumed he had no chance of escape. In their eyes, he was just a child. How could he possibly be a match for them? They clearly underestimated Yi-Shen's abilities. Yi-Shen didn't want to waste any more time, so he struck first, deciding to finish the fight quickly. He needed to act fast, otherwise, if more people discovered him, things would get complicated. Because these burly men underestimated Yi-Shen's strength, they were completely careless. As a result, when Yi-Shen made his move, they were defeated almost instantly. After defeating these men, Yi-Shen could proceed smoothly to the third level. However, all of this was witnessed by one person, General White. General White had been observing the situation from a distance, and when he saw Yi-Shen defeat these burly soldiers, he wasn't worried at all. General White's confidence stemmed largely from the fact that the third level of Masru Tower housed a group of invincible metal warriors, the tower's most prized possessions. General White believed that even if Yi-Shen could easily defeat these men, dealing with the metal warriors would be extremely difficult. Because the metal warriors were robots with enduring power, they were virtually indestructible and could continuously engage in combat. Even with Yi-Shen's extraordinary abilities, he couldn't sustain such a high level of exertion indefinitely. However, Yi-Shen was unaware of all this. He didn't know what awaited him on the third level of Masru Tower. Full of anticipation, Yi-Shen stepped onto the third level. As Yi-Shen stepped onto the third floor attic, the sensors on the neatly arranged rows of metal warriors detected the heat source and automatically activated. The metal warriors suddenly moved, startling Yi-Shen. He saw all the robots turn to look at him in unison, which he found particularly eerie. The metal warriors' sensors detected Yi-Shen, scanned his entire body with rays, and transmitted information. A command formed in their brains: kill the intruder before them, because Yi-Shen did not possess any identification markings. The metal warriors could only obey the established order. Their bodies changed, automatically conjuring weapons, and they marched towards Yi-Shen in unison. This display shocked Yi-Shen. A row of tall, sturdy robots and incredibly advanced weaponry before him, Yi-Shen desperately wanted to run away, but he still had to save the village chief. Yi-Shen was Suen Yuo and the others' hope. He couldn't afford to give up now. Yi Shen's previous combat experience had always been against humans, he had never fought against robots before. He didn't know how to find the weaknesses of these metal warriors. Yi Shen initially thought these metal warriors would be slow and have poor reflexes, but the reality was that their reaction time was incredibly fast, even faster than a human's. This frustrated Yi Shen, who could only dodge their attacks. He was being relentlessly pursued, and they were on the verge of driving him off the 3rd floor. Suddenly, Yi Shen leaped onto Metal Warrior's back and, with all his might, launched a counterattack from behind. During the fight, he had discovered the key to defeating the Metal Warriors, their fatal weakness. He discovered that their most vital part was located on their backs, containing chips and processors. Destroying this was like destroying a human brain, stopping the Metal Warriors. Yi Shen ran at top speed, destroying the backs of several Metal Warriors in the shortest time possible. Once destroyed, the Metal Warriors lost all power, turning into piles of metal and collapsing to the ground. This battle was extremely fierce, and Yi Shen expended a great deal of energy. In the rush, he discovered the Metal Warrior's weakness, and thanks to his quick thinking, he resolved the crisis in the simplest way. General White, who had been secretly observing from afar, couldn't believe that Yi Shen had managed to subdue the Metal Warrior in such a short time. General White didn't believe Yi Shen's strength was that great, and he would absolutely not allow Yi Shen to find the village chief so easily. He wanted to give Yi Shen another challenge. General White whistled, and then a purple shadow appeared beside him. The purple shadow's appearance was obscured, only General White knew what it looked like. The purple shadow summoned by General White was a ninja, known as the Death Messenger, a very powerful ninja. General White said angrily, "Go and kill that person over there." "Be quick," the purple ninja replied to General White. "Yes, Master," the purple ninja said, and then left General White's side to take action. After defeating the Metal Warrior, Yi Shen searched the 3rd floor but found no trace of the village chief. He then proceeded to the 4th floor. Yi Shen arrived at the 4th floor without any obstacles, but he felt something was amiss. The reason for this was the complete darkness of the 4th floor, Maslow Tower. It was pitch black, making movement nearly impossible. Just as he was thinking this, a purple ninja lurking in the shadows launched several darts at him. Fortunately, Yi Shen's hearing was sharp enough to detect the direction of the darts even without seeing them. He caught the darts successfully. Who used such a sneaky tactic? Yi Shen couldn't see anyone and assumed it was a hidden weapon from the 4th floor. He continued to advance in the dark. The purple ninja, intending to ambush Yi Shen, revealed himself when he reached a corner and launched a swift attack. Yi Shen, unaware of the purple ninja's presence, was caught off guard and took the hit. Yi Shen was struck by a palm strike and only then realized that someone was lying in ambush on the 4th floor. However, it was very dark on the 4th floor, and Yi Shen couldn't see who it was. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.